Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy December 28th, 2020. From me to you, aren't you happy you're not a Knicks fan? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It happened to them again. 9 points in less than 30 seconds. Luka Doncic just dazzling last night. So good, you have to watch it twice. I watched it again this morning. We'll definitely get into that. The Sixers blow a 48-point performance by Joel Embiid. We got that to talk about. Clippers clip as well. Lots to get to in the world of the NBA. Man, shout out to those Indiana Pacers who just waxed Atlanta, too. It's going to be a great show. Hopefully, wherever you are warming up. I thank you for coming in, no matter where you are, making a part of your day, a part of ours. We are appreciative. Shout out to you and all of the content creators here on NBA Twitter. Big news, hopefully, coming this time next week. Can't wait to get to it. All right, you know what to do. Like and retweet the show card. Hop on up by raising those hands, and we'll get into it in 30 seconds. Good morning. West. All right. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Sorry about that. My son came in. I didn't realize it, and then I didn't know if I was on mute. How's everybody doing? Good morning. Happy Wednesday, the 28th, 2020. Lots to get to in the world of basketball, so let's go ahead and hop into it. Please like and retweet the show card. Check out the tweets from the morning. And here are the scores. Lakers beat the Magic 129, 110. The Wizards beat the Sixers 116, 111. Celtics hold court over the Rockets 126, 102. Pacers bounced back and beat the Hawks 129, 114. The Clippers 124, Raptors 113. The Suns beat the Grizzlies 125, 108. Grizzlies have not looked good since John Morant said he fears nobody in the West. The Thunder beat the Spurs 130, 114. The Mavericks pulled out a stunner 126, 121 in overtime, defeating the New York Knicks. The Warriors beat the Hornets 110, 105. And the Nuggets stopped a beam from being lit 113, 106. Those are all your scores. Shout out to each and every one of you who make part of your day, part of Hoop Spaces. We are appreciative. And if you want to come on up, go ahead and request the mic. Shout out to Justin Padden, our YouTube coordinator, down below, signed up a content creator soon to be coming possibly to add their reaction videos. That's what's up. If you are a content creator already and you want an easy way to add to what you're already doing, just hit Justin up. Check out what he does at JP the Franchise on YouTube or the Hoop Spaces YouTube channel. And you can see exactly what we're looking for, and you can come on board as a content creator. As always, brought to you by slamgoods.com. Go ahead and head over to slamgoods.com. Use promo code HoopSpaces, save 15%. off of your entire purchase. Again, slamgoods.com, ladies and gentlemen. You can go get your apparel needs, your collectible needs, anything for the fan of the NBA. Might I suggest a digital subscription so you can get all 12 episodes sent directly to you for $19.97. Use promo code HoopSpace to save 15%. Like, get yourself a good cup of coffee. And as always, if you need a new coffee mug, head over to the Hoop Spaces merch store and pick one up for $12. Support the cause, right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, to the victor goes the spoils. And we got a lot of victors up here, so we're going to go ahead and hop into it with the story of the night. We will go to Jose, one of the lead of 77 Spaces here on Hoop Spaces. You can catch them 1 hour pregame, talking all things Mavs. Jose, good morning. Congratulations. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Good morning, Chris, and good morning, everybody on Hoop Spaces. If you ever wondered why some Mavs fans are extremely biased to Luka Doncic being in the MVP race, all I have to say is 60, 21, and 10. The first player in NBA history to ever record that type of stat line. And that is just phenomenal. The Don, the step back echelon, Luka Don, unwilling to lose against the Knicks, who were down RJ, who were down Jalen Brunson, who was getting tore up by Quentin Grimes and Julius Randle and even Mitchell Robinson. Um, this this showed basically something that we've all been saying and we will continue to be saying throughout the entirety of the Mavs season is that guys have to make their shots. The Mavs were at 28% from three the entire game, and Christian Wood had a very dominant first half, in my opinion. And the second half, he kind of wavered. But then in the crunch time, Christian Wood and Spencer Dinwiddie showed up. They made some key plays, whether it was Christian Wood's block on Quentin Grimes, if I could recall, on the in the corner to get us another rebound, and I think that's when we took control of the game right there. And then also Spencer Dinwiddie hitting a transition three that I was just like, bro, what are you doing? Why are you pulling up this quick? But shout out to those two guys because without their contributions in the key moments of this game, I don't think we'd be up here talking about even a 60-point triple double from Luka because it damn near took 50 plus just to get into overtime. And again, it was just phenomenal to see history being made last night. Uh, it also just goes to show you that this team needs to be better. They need more talent put around them because Lucas shouldn't have to put out this type of performance. But he also showed that if the game is on the line, he's going to do whatever the hell it takes to capture that W. And if that's not a player you want on your team, I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you if you didn't get a chance to witness NBA history last night. Uh, I will give you the rest of the time, Chris, because I really don't have much else to say. I think if you watch that performance and you watch how everything played out, you're just still in disbelief of how everything came to be.
Yeah, man. Congratulations are in order. There's some other there were some good games by Knicks. Like Quentin Grimes had himself a game and a half. R.J. Barrett goes out in the first couple of minutes due to a severe laceration on the finger, and Miles McBride got the bulk of the minutes. Which, by the way, I told y'all the last few days that Miles McBride is going to get this extra time. Derrick Rose got 12 minutes. Nobody else picked up anything off the bench besides him, Jericho Sims, and Isaiah Hartenstein, which, by the way, I told you Tibbs would rather play Hartenstein, Sims, and Mitchell Robinson than Cam Reddish or Evan Fournier. Told you that, too. We'll get into that in a second with set. But first, we'll go to Micah real quick. Micah, good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Wow. I don't know if I have words for what I just witnessed, but good God Almighty. Luca the Don. Luca H. Doncic. And you know what the H stands for. I don't even gotta say it. Good, a 6'8" guard getting 21 rebounds. Wow. And just completely putting the team on his back because they didn't have it. And man, give that man his extension. Like, not now, but right now. Like, what else do we need to see? Why do we keep on overthinking this as far as how much a player's paid? Why are we pocket watching in this? Dude, they're talking about 4 for 77. That's four fifth option money. We six men are getting that kind of money right now. What are we doing? But man, it was just awesome, fantastic. I'm just gonna sit back and listen because it's gonna be loud here in a minute. So, but man, that was just phenomenal.
All
Like
right.
number two in the world, and not best top two and not two. How about that?
Appreciate it, Micah. We've got Cedric Shine, ladies and gentlemen, host of Live from the Mecca with Sean with the W and Jeff J says, as well as co-host of Live from the Mecca with I Am Holito, which will be on later at 12 today. First time he's popped up here with the new Avi. I got to say congratulations to my man who's been killing it. Round of applause to the success to Cedric. Man, I'm happy for you, proud of you. But last night, you know what? Like there were some good games by some Nick players, but you got snake bit in the end by Luca. What did you see, and how? What do you take away from it?
Peace to the room. What's up, Chris, man? Much love to you. Much love to Who Spaces, love this community. Love what we cultivated here. I can't remember who it was last year, but Luca hit some crazy circus shot on him. It was demoralizing. They won the game. And I mean, look, with 33 seconds left, everything that could go wrong went wrong for the Knicks. I think had the Knicks won this game, the story would have been the Quentin Grimes, what have you. The story would have been them being down two starters. But that's not what happened. When four guys on your squad play 45 plus minutes and they look dead in the end, that kind of is what it is. Um, so I came to pull up, man, because I heard there was smoke, and I'm not John Morant. I don't run up chimneys and nothing like that, but I don't duck no smoke. So I'm here, man. Shout out to Luca. I would be remiss if I didn't throw some shade at the fact that Luca shot 22 free throws and the Knicks as a team shot 24. I said last night on the timeline, clearly the Knicks don't have that elite talent yet, but we need that elite talent that we could get, some of these foul calls. I think in the last 3 or 4 games, we've seen a player on the other team have almost as many free throws as the Knicks. And, that's not for lack of, Knicks players getting hit. It's just us not getting the calls, even when we're at home. So that pisses me off. But, kudos to him. The streets are saying that Harden had a 60-20-10 game or something like that. I'm just putting it out there that they're saying that Harden had the 60-point triple-double too. So just putting that out there.
Oh man, like yeah, he did. I think it was 20 something assists, 22 assists maybe. Something like that. Jose, hop in here. We'll go around the room. We'll get everybody's thoughts on what Luca was able to pull off last night.
May I say, I think Jalen Brunson's absence was key here because there was a lot of moments down the stretch where the Knicks just didn't have a primary leader. Something that I have witnessed throughout, whether it was Mavs games or Knicks games this season, is that Jalen Brunson has been able to basically hold down the tide. And he was able to lead the Knicks to several key victories against Utah. I'm trying to remember who else. I think it was the Cavaliers as well, because Jalen Brunson is just a very great leader. And I think in this situation last night, he would have just became somebody that would have closed out the Mavericks, regardless of Luka being able to go off like he did.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Um, I'm miffed if I'm a Knicks fan because RJ went out, and it was clear Tibbs didn't care about anybody else on the bench. Like, yeah, would it have hurt to put Fournier or Fee in there for like 5 minutes? Just 5 minutes. Like, give somebody a break because, like Seth said, everybody was gassed.
Bro, do you know how hard it is to
But
play?
that's the thing. But that's the thing with
Yeah.
Tibbs. Like there's no player that has played in Tibbs' system and is healthy today and can live to talk about it, right? So at the end of the day, this is what you're gonna get with him, right? Like he's just gonna ride his guys to a pulp. And when people were upset that the Knicks hired him, he had done the circuit and talked about he had changed, and he was going to the Sloan conference and talking about analytics, et cetera, et cetera. And it's the same dude, right? It's the same dude, and it's just like Julius Randle is not a clutch player. That's a fact. Don't get me wrong. He will give you buckets in that first quarter, but when it comes down the stretch, that's not who you want to go to. Even though they go to him and he ISOs, et cetera. However, I'd look like shit too if I was off 40 plus minutes every night. They don't got no legs.
Exactly. No, I agree. And I agree with Jose's point. If Jalen Brunson's in that game, it's probably a different game, and Jalen probably does help the Knicks close it out because there was nothing there. Like, there's no direction. All right, we'll go around the room. We'll start up top, work our way down the bottom. Up next, Brooklyn Netcast. Netcast, good morning. Your thoughts on Luka Doncic's 60-20 game, triple-double. And by the way, it was 60, 11, and 10 for Harden against the Orlando Magic. There you go. Go ahead, Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's the greatest performance I've ever watched live in any sport. I mean, that was absolutely magnificent. Like, if you were trying to make a movie about a basketball game, that's what it would be. The purposeful missed free throw, the tip in with half a second left, him dominating in all four quarters, including then overtime. I mean, it was just it's something I've never seen before. He's truly one of a kind, and they got to get him some help. They got to give him a second option. And I did see something. I want to back Harden, which isn't something I usually will do, being a Nets fan. But I hope people now, because of what Luka's doing, will look at the whole ball dominant thing and look at it more as of it's not really like we have another option. And this is how we will succeed as a team. In like Luka's case, Harden did it before, and there's a bunch of players that have done it, like even like Russ, who they painted it as not winning basketball. But I'm happy that Luka is somewhat changing that perception as, okay, well, it's more that if he doesn't dominate the ball the whole game, we're going to lose every single game. He needs to dominate the ball. So I'm happy Luka's doing that for a lot of other NBA players who have to do the same thing and will have to in the future. And he's going to changing that whole perception and helping people realize that.
All right, good point. I wonder what's worse. Is Luka and the Mavs down 9 in less than 30 worse than Reggie Miller? That's a good question. Bonkai, we'll go to you, man. What do you got?
Man, that was the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I would say, right? Like,
Reggie Miller, hands down.
All right, good.
This is be a goldfish. This is, I mean, just brush this off. But that Reggie Miller, that's the playoffs.
All right, Bonkai, what do you got, man?
Hey, good morning. Congrats, Micah. Congrats, Jose. Good win. I like what Jose said about Jalen Brunson. I fully agree. Look, very, very tough loss, to say the least. I mean, it did sting watching it, as I was moving into a new apartment. It really sucked. But I'll take some positive out of it, and I'll say, hey, at least the young players, all the young players except RJ, who obviously got hurt, and Cam Reddish, who is not in the rotation anymore, and he's not going to be in the rotation going forward. Like, people need to stop asking for him to play. He's just not going to be playing. I think there's an agreement between his agent himself and the Knicks brass to like not play this kid until he can be put in a spot where like he can get a bunch of minutes right on another team. I think that's done with. Sealed, signed, pretty much delivered. Um, but the positive is that the young guys played. The young guys played a lot of time. They played a lot of minutes, meaningful minutes, and we've been asking, right? It's good for development, and it's good for them to experience something like this. I know it was tough, but sometimes when your young players are developing, they have to go through tough losses. They have to learn from this, and it's a positive at the end of the day. A lot of Knicks fans say, "Oh, play the young kids, play the young kids." Well, the young kids are playing. They played each almost 40 minutes, and they lost, and they went through a painful experience. They just got to learn from it. Pick yourselves up. It's gonna happen. It's not gonna be the last
My
time,
God,
and
this
it's
ain't
not
no
gonna be the
rebuild season, dog. This ain't no goddamn
Bro, it
rebuild
doesn't
season.
matter. Yo, please don't cut me off. Please
Go
don't cut
ahead,
me off.
man.
Thank you. All right. Please don't cut me off. Thank you. Um, it's not a full rebuild, but at the end of the day, these young kids played. They gave everything they had, and they'll learn from it. It's that simple. For the people
Yeah.
clamoring for the Knicks to play the kids, for Tibbs to play the kids, they played. And they'll learn. That's it. It's not going to be the first, painful loss. It's not going to be the last. It is what it is. It's
All right.
just try to get some positive out of it.
Speaking of painful, Emmanuel quickly 1 for 10 from deep.
Hey, at least he had 12 assists, so I'll take that from him.
Get the fuck, man.
He had 15. He had 15 assists. 5 for 21 from the field. Game high. 51 minutes. We'll go to Breeze. Breeze, what's up?
Play the young kids though, huh? Yeah, gotcha.
They gotta play, right?
Could have played a goddamn wing last night. It could have helped a little bit. Could have. Wow. Keep him on the bench though. Yeah, gotcha.
What was the funkiest lineup? Was it the Hartenstein, Jericho Sims?
Get Hartenstein off my god.
I think it was Sims, Hartenstein, Miles McBride, IQ. I think at some point, or Derrick Rose actually.
Breeze, you with us?
Oh, my fault. Yeah. So I just wanted to for the situation. First off, I just wanted to give credit to Luka because I mean, if you come in here and talk about the Knicks when he's put on some 2K numbers, it's kind of crazy. I do want to assess for the Luka situation though. It's kind of hard for me envisioning him playing with another star just because of the usage itis. So in y'all opinion, do y'all think Luka likes playing with this Dallas Maverick fans having the ball in his hands all the time? What would a off ball Luka Doncic do? I'm trying to envision because he's a good player, but the usage thing if for I think Brooklyn Nets cast said about winning basketball. The high usage thing hasn't shown with the one guy to be a winning formula. So what does a second star next to Luka look like, and then what does Luka game translate to if he's not dominating the ball as much?
I mean, I would say that it would actually make him a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, more easy looks, less attention.
If you look at how he played, over in Spain for oh geez, why am I blanking all of a sudden?
Real Madrid.
Yeah, for Real Madrid, he took a back seat to those who are senior to him. He's not going to have a problem being a facilitator first. I don't think. I think the biggest issue for most people is that they just can't see that. Jose, you've actually watched him in Eurobasket. You've gone back in time and watched some of those Real Madrid games, and you watch literally every Luka game as a Maverick. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's also when you think about last season and you think about what Spencer Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson was able to do around Luka. I mean, Luka is okay with deferring with somebody he knows can basically handle the ball and also set up the offense. It's more so about him just getting players that fit their roles perfectly and are a little bit above what we currently have on the team. Right now, this team is just so heavily reliant on the 3-point shot, and we really only have Spencer Dinwiddie as a reliable second ball handler, and that's part of the reason why his usage has skyrocketed. But last season it was, I think, at 38%, and that was even with Jalen Brunson. And I think the notion of Luka becoming an off ball player probably won't be existent, but I think if you definitely give him that second star, I think you'll see him deferring a little bit more often than you do right now. And also, Luka is probably one of the greatest offensive players in the game, and he knows how to set up his players because he's leading the league in open shot attempts for his teammates. He's generating these wide ass open looks, and I don't know how you could really place a second star around him. I think that's what we're all eager to see is who's going to be that second star and who is going to take on that role. I mean, with Christian Wood right now, Christian Wood is having a phenomenal, efficient season, and Luka's okay with letting him dribble and get his own shot and create some of the mismatches for Christian Wood. But Christian Wood is not a second star. He's probably a third or a fourth, but just efficiently is beyond me how how impressive he's been with the Mavs. And it just goes to show that that's the impact that Luka has on his teammates. So sorry if I didn't answer your question clearly, but I would just say get Luka some guys who could handle the ball and get him some higher end role players, and we'll see how far that goes.
Yeah, just as a my bad, as a follow up, Chris, if I could,
Yeah, go
because
ahead.
that also depends on the play style of the second star, correct? Because like, if like watching a lot of I did actually watch a lot of the Mavericks games last season. I would never say I watched as much as you guys did, but a lot of times the offense would look like it would be a second ball handler just to give kind of Luca a break from handling the ball kind of thing. So what does it
Well,
look like with him being engaged like off off ball? I'm just trying to, not saying that I didn't say that he can't do it. I'm just saying once players usually get into that usageitis type like James Harden thing, the decline from that when they come down with a second star, dependent also on the second star is usually the adjustment. So I'm trying to just look at Luka's game because I don't want him to keep wasting performances because Mark Cuban thinks the best thing that you could do for Luka is put reject Knicks around him.
I would actually offer Paul George um, as a template. If you look at how Paul George went from Indiana to OKC, in terms of how a superstar who's ball dominant gets teamed up with another ball dominant superstar, and you could try to make the argument for Paul George on the Clippers with Kawhi, but Kawhi just ain't played enough. But like everybody thought that the OKC pairing wasn't going to work because Paul George needs the ball in his hand. We all know Russ needs the ball in his hand, and it worked out fine. Like players that's good, they will be able to change their game. That their game will be malleable enough to form next to another great player, and that's actually a skill that kind of like elevates the elite players over the really just good players, right? Because like ain't nobody saying this about Zach LaVine.
So who would be the ideal guy for you guys to pair up with Luca? Like who's
I
that?
just well I would say Paul George, but go to
I
Jose,
have
go
a
to
name.
Rolo.
I have two
Well,
names.
wait, go to Jose and Rolo first because that's who the original question was going to. Go ahead, Jose,
All
then Rolo.
All right, so Chris nailed it on the head. I mean, Paul George, but also like a OG, which Mavs fans been clamoring for because OG is damn near borderline top 5 defensive player of the year this year. You need, I mean, when you look at 2011 team, Dirk was surrounded with defensive players or defensive minded players, and that's just how the Mavs are going to win is with athletic defenders around Luka, and OG is definitely up there. Bibbs has said Gary Trent Jr. just because his length, his wingspan is a 6'9", while he's like 6'4", 6'5". So you need that length. You need the ability to shoot from three, which Gary Trent Jr. is phenomenal at, and just somebody who's okay with being off the ball. I mean, look at Jalen Brunson's success last season. Jalen Brunson basically centered his game around being off ball. When he was able to create, he created, and Jalen Brunson had a lot of success doing that last season. And that's what we just need to replicate, but with a little bit more length and height. That's what I'll say.
Don't forget, you could get Julius Randle too. Rolo, go ahead, and then Akil. Then we'll reset with Sean.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning. Yeah, who I was going to say, ironically, is the guy that we faced in the Western Conference Finals, the guy that actually had a pretty good job against Luka, who's Andrew Wiggins. I think Andrew Wiggins is probably the perfect complement to Luka because he could create his own shot. He could, go inside, outside. But the biggest thing that he, brings to the table is his defense. So we need someone that could defend like him. Like crazy. So I mean, yeah. And for me, it's what Jose said. OG definitely, but the guy that I would have loved to paired with Luka was Andrew Wiggins. But yeah, good morning, Hoop Spaces. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Christian Wood's last 7 games per Kevin O'Connor. 20 points, 9 boards, 2 blocks, 2 assists, 34 minutes per game. Nice. All right, Akil, what's your name?
Man, I got a couple names. Not really. Actually, 2 names. Like, this is like my far-fetched pairing. I think you do need like another dude offensively, and I think my guy for this, and it's never gonna happen, but I just dream about it all the time. But somehow you could get SGA out there in Dallas. Like, I get it. It will never happen. But, like, just as far as, like, a dude who is just, like, an elite driver, if you gave him any sort of tilted defense, like, he's getting off 25 drives a game right now in OKC playing next to Timothy Chalamet. Like, imagine a dude who could actually, like, bend a defense any type of direction, and it's just like, oh, hey, go take advantage of this. Like, go drive the basketball. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. But never gonna happen, right? Like, very unrealistic. I wish it could. Like, Jesus, it would be amazing and so much fun to see. But then more realistically would probably be like OG. Like, yeah, that's like a very good name if like Toronto's thinking about blowing it up. That's like a wing that you kind of put next to him, go guard some people. He can create his own stuff a little bit. That's more of the 3-and-D-ish kind of route, but like I do think that they need like a secondary scorer who can take like 10, 15 possessions off of Luka. Where it's like, hey, I can chill for these 20 and you can go get yours. So yeah, like kind of more like the James Harden CP3 route where like you do have 2 really, really, really good ball handlers. And they tried to do that with Jalen Brunson, but I mean like, and they're trying to do that with Spencer Dinwiddie now, and it worked last year with JB, but it's like, it's clearly not working with Spencer this year. So I think that they do need like another secondary guy where you can kind of keep them together and then you can split them up so that way you have one of them on the floor at all times. So I think they probably should go that route more than the 3-and-D wing route, but I get that route too because it's probably a little easier than getting that other dude.
All right, appreciate it, Akil.
Can
Ladies and what?
Oh, can I give an unorthodox one real quick, Chris? I know my 10 minutes of fame is up.
Sure, go ahead.
This is clearly a fantasy world, but I would like to see a world where Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic play together as the 1 and 2. While I know the pick and roll defense would be fucking terrible, I think you could have the 2, 3, and 4 be some athletic wings like 6'6", 6'7", 6'9", and then that would complement both of each other's games because they both can run pick and roll on offense. That'd be a mismatch. Be able to kick it out to some 3-and-D shooting guys, and then you just have to have those 3 positions with on the ball wings that could, be switchable and help and live bodies. But yeah.
Yeah, I would say it would also have been great to see Luka play with the prime Shaq, but like I ain't gonna get that neither, Breeze.
I also feel like Luka needs more of a dude who's like, and Jokic is fantastic, so this is not a Jokic slight, but I feel like Luka needs a dude who's like way more of like an athlete. Like the one would be like if you could somehow get like, if we're going that route with the name that you brought up, like Anthony Davis, like that at his peak, like that would be fun. But like he needs a dude who could like set screens and like throw lobs to
Oh,
it.
Anthony Davis ain't setting no screen anytime soon.
But like the vertical spacing is absolutely there. But I get your point. But man, yeah, Luka and Jokic should be tough. That'd be fun. I don't know.
All right, you hear his voice on Knicks Film School, and you also hear his voice on Live from the Mecca with Cedric and Jeff J. Says. This is Sean with a W. Sean, 4-game losing streak. Faith of a mustard seed. How you doing?
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Is it too breezy?
It's pretty breezy, but we got you if you're close to the mic.
Is this better?
A little bit.
I'll make this quick then, because I am on South Beach, and I'm not
Nice.
going to let the Knicks ruin my day or my vacation. So I'm just going to say this. So actually, I'm going to put my head under this towel to block all the wind, and then I'm going to get my takeoff, and then I'm going to go back to my vacation. A couple things. One, the shout out to Luka Doncic. I think the Luka versus Trey debate is over. I think we can put that one to bed. That's number one. Number two, anyone blaming the head coach last night has an agenda to push. I've heard a lot of now. You can blame him for what he did in the last 30 seconds. He could have done more. However, if you're up 9 with 33 seconds left, Tibbs should have been rolling a spliff and deciding which flavor of hookah he was going to get at the club that night, because the game is absolutely over. The game should be over. I shouldn't have to coach anymore. The last thing I'll say is there's a large segment of Knicks Twitter that yells about play the kids, development, develop them. Well, this is what development looks like. People think development means like, oh, we just play these kids. They can come on and kick ass. Like, no, they're going to make mistakes. Grimes not switching on the Spencer Dinwiddie for that 3. What happened? Okay, let's go in order. First, it's Grimes stop dribbling and getting tied up. The led to the held ball. Although I don't know how you get one hand on the ball, get a held ball. That's either here or there. That's number one. Then losing the tip. Then allowing the and one to Luka, because I think that's the key of the game. Because you basically let them score 6 points like 3 seconds. That was a lazy foul by Quickly, barely could get the ball past half court. And then you need one rebound, and Grimes and McBride run into each other and knock it out of each other's hands. Like, that's development. Someone said, like, well, what about the first? How come this doesn't happen in the first 47 minutes of the game? I'm like, because these are highest pressure situations that these kids have not been in, so they're gonna get used to it. This is part of development. So, for all the people that are yelling and screaming about development, and then you're mad about how the game ended, like, well, hey, he put the game in the hands of the kids, which we've been yelling about for God knows how long, and that's what happened. It freaking stinks. It's awful because it's literally never happened in 13,884 games, but this is part of development, so we have to take our lumps. So that's it. That's all I got to say. I'm going to listen. I'm going to drop down to listen, and everyone enjoy the rest of your day.
Go enjoy Miami, bro.
Great goal if possible, Sean.
Have fun. You deserve it. Lost in this also is the luck of Jason Kidd. Like, let's not lie about this, because he played 6 dudes. 6. JaVale McGee, Kemba Walker, Frank, and Wright, they all got like 7 minutes or less. He played 6 dudes, walked out with a win. That normally doesn't happen. We'll go around the room, 60 seconds to everybody. We'll let Seth get the last word in here. We'll go Brooklyn, then Bonkai, then Evan, then Rolo, then Jose, Akil, Micah, Ham. We'll bring up a couple new people. We'll move on to the 76ers wasting 74 combined points between Joel Embiid and James Harden. I'm not too thrilled about that. Brooklyn, go ahead.
Skip over me for 1 second. I'll just let whoever was behind me go
All right.
first.
Cool. Well, since Bach has already gone once, we'll go to. Go ahead, Seth. What you got, man?
Yeah, I got you. I'm about to get in the barber chair. Hey,
All
listen,
right.
man. If you wanna hear some Knicks talk, there'll be some nuance today. Pull up the KCDA at 12. That's on I Am Julito. That's who will be starting the page. I'll be in there co-hosting. We rocking. Hoop Spaces keep rocking. Keep having spirited, nuanced basketball conversation. The app needs it because there's a lot of idiots, and we can't let idiots run the app. Love.
Hey, get a good cut, man. I gotta talk to you about what might happen. So we'll catch up. All right. We'll go to Evan Moore. We'll go to him. We'll go to Ham. Then we'll go to Micah. Then we'll come back to Bonkai, Brooklyn, and we'll get Jose and Rollo to close it out. Evan, go ahead.
Morning, everybody. I'm had kind of a rough Christmas, but I got a little bit of a reprieve last night. The Lakers, had a wire-to-wire win against the Magic last night. Appreciate that. But my wife and kid are still stuck. Thanks to Southwest Airlines, they're still stranded. Not going to come home till tomorrow. They're supposed to come home yesterday, so that sucks. But it was nice to get the reprieve of the Laker win, and then. I got a little bit of rain this morning. That's why I'm here this morning because, I don't have to actually walk dogs. So we got this. And, just want to say shout out to Mavs fans for getting to witness history. I'm actually looking forward to getting the chance to watch that game later this afternoon. And nobody's mentioned this yet, but, this is something to be really proud of as a Mavs fan. Wilt Chamberlain never even made that stat line. That's impressive. Not just the 6'8" guy, but a dude that is the stat king of the NBA never achieved that stat line. That's incredible. And I'm looking forward to watching that game later today. So thanks for letting me speak.
I guess Chris is in the blender right now, so
No, I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm messaging back and forth with a couple people. Appreciate it though, Jose. Go ahead. You got it.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna wait to close out the segment, but Tim McMahon had tweeted this last night. Tim McMahon is a local Dallas media reporter, and his tweet is NBA teams were 0-13,884 in the last 20 seasons when trailing by at least 9 points with 35 or fewer seconds remaining in a NBA game.
That's kind of crazy, not gonna lie. 0-13 something.
That's tough. There are statistical anomalies and there are absolutes in life, and one of the absolutes in life is the New York Knicks nicking. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We'll go to Ham next. Ham, appreciate the patience. What you got? That was dope. Appreciate the contribution. I'm going to hit this button, get a read in early since we have a natural break in. Ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by slamgoods.com, the leader in visionary and off the court basketball coverage. That's right. If you ever read Slam Magazine, it was more than just the game on the court, and it's what gives the game its culture, its flavor. And you can relive that with the Rewind series over there on slamgoods.com. If you head over there, you can pick up the copies of Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Kevin Garnett, Kevin Durant. I almost combined them. That would have been weird. And you can purchase them all and use promo code HoopSpaces and save 15% off of those purchases, which is dope because you get a good copy of Living History, and they get money. But you save money in doing it this way. So it's a win-win. Hoop Faces is the promo code. Slamgoods.com is the website. Go there. Use it. Spread love. Yeah. All right. Up next, we'll go to Bankai. What up? 60 seconds.
Yeah. So real quick, where's my dings? I love Sean, and we get along very well. But I pretty much said the same thing that he said before. He said about like the young players need
Because
to play.
you were driving, and you were not on Bluetooth.
Yeah, but I find that when I drive on Bluetooth, it sounds a bit shaky. But okay, you got a point. Anyways,
Yo, yeah, thank you for giving me a point.
wait! I got something interesting for you. Actually, it might be a Mavs fan came up on the space yesterday, and he suggested like, oh hey, what's the price for Julius Randle? So would Julius Randle be of interest to the Mavs? I'm not saying anything, not starting anything, but would that be a good court mate for him, like that type of player?
Sure, I like him there. It would be but Christian Wood would be producing the same stat line essentially. What I like with adding Randall there is he's a better ball handler and passer than Wood. But yeah, like they'd be fine.
Okay, yeah, I'm just bringing it up because that's the first time I've heard a Mavs fan saying like, "Hey, we'd love to trade for Julius." So I
You
found it.
gotta show up to 77 spaces, Bankai. Plenty of Mavs fans have brought up Julius's name before.
Oh, okay. I'll be. When is the next one? Like Jose knows. Like anybody?
1 hour before every Mavs game, my guy. It's always
all right,
there.
so I'll go to the next one then.
All right, thank you. There you go. That's how you do it. One person at a time, right? Man, y'all just don't pay attention to Twitter because like they be tweeting saying, "Hey, we're talking," and
Nah,
y'all
you know
don't.
what the problem is? I feel like ever since Elon took over, the timeline has been like ass. Like I see a lot of tweets from like 3-4 days ago. Like some.
So this is what you do, Bankai. This is what you do. You create a list, and then you put people on the list. That way, you scroll over to the list, and you see all the people on your list's tweets. You're welcome.
You're right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Akil, go ahead.
All right, man. Couple quick things here. Number one, the Memphis Grizzlies and Ja Morant. Ever since Ja said, "I ain't worried about the West," yada yada yada, all this, all that. It's getting cooked by the West, so that's tough. Have fun with that. Good job putting a target on your back. Sucks for you. Anyways, the real conversation here that we need to have. My rookie, Jalen Duren, Chris. Kid's a dog. Kid is tough. I coming into like the whole draft, I was just like, you know what? I think my perfect time for this kid is gonna be Rob Williams. I think he could probably be better than Rob Will, man. I think he could probably be better than Rob Will. Actually, I'm gonna stand on that. He'll be better than Robert Williams III. Something that I kind of took for granted, or not really granted, surprise, his playmaking. Like he's a really, really good secondary passer. Like we're just running sets through him at the elbow, and he's just finding people, and he's like dishing and diming away. So that's really, really fun to see. I love seeing us not lose competitive basketball games. I mean, the Clippers game kind of sucked. Like I wanted to win that one, but like outside of that, we've lost a lot of games, but we've been fun. We've been competitive, which is good. What you want to see in a young team losing while being competitive.
You literally came up here just to talk Jalen Duren. Like, forget all the games that happened last night. You really came up here just to talk Jalen Duren.
Listen,
man.
Chris.
If you don't stop.
Being a Pistons fan, we have small but few good things happen in our life. Jalen Duren is one of them. All right, but we can roll over the game from last night. Luka is him. He's very, very good at the basketball thing. Man, the Clippers beat them to the Grizzlies lost to the Suns. That's tough. But yeah, you know what?
You really just came up here to do that. You literally got nothing but Luka is him. The Grizzlies lost in Jalen Duren. Let's give him a round of applause.
It is what it is, man. I do what I do. I push anything I need to push Detroit related. But
yeah, get yourself some Starbucks, man. You sound tired.
I am.
It's hard work being a Detroit Pistons fan. My grandmother was one that caused her to have an early death. That being an Lions fan too.
Yeah, that kind of scares me now, honestly.
Oh yeah, you got a shocked face 6 of the 12. Nah, I blame the Detroit Lions. Like she She watched the Detroit Lions lose, and like that was it, bro. Like it was enough. Her entire life, she wanted to see the Lions go to the playoffs. Let's put it that way. All right, we got Mark Edwards up here, 6 of the 12. JB Fortis, Jose. We'll go to Rolo and Jose after JB because JB's got a little bit of a Mavs rant, and like I think it borders along where I was going earlier. The Mavs got lucky. Like they could have suffered the fate of Jason Kidd. JB Fortis, host of NBA NFL Now, here 8 a.m. on Twitter Spaces. JB, good morning.
Good morning. It's a tiny rant about the Mavs. It's not really a big one because last night absolutely historic for Luka. 60-point triple doubles, incredible, totally amazing offense.
Well, you sound like you're on Verizon.
Really? You can't hear me?
Nah, man, you cut off completely.
Okay, am I
You
good now? Awesome. Last night, I just want to give some credit because last night, absolutely historic for Luka. The 60-point triple-double, incredible, totally amazing player in overtime against the Knicks. Our first 60-point game in 2022 totally raised the Mavs from the play-in tournament to the 6th seed of the Western Conference playoffs if things were to end today. Incredible. Just what a great December win for the Mavericks and Mark Cuban. It's a great stat line against a good Knicks team. I remember last year when Kyrie Irving scored 60 points after missing most of the season due to an anti-vaccination stance against the Magic and then got swept in the playoffs by the Celtics. But that's not the point. Let's find a happier ending. How about Karl Anthony Towns, who scored 60 points against the Spurs last year? That was really exciting. He lost in the first round of the playoffs also. But yeah, that what a win in the play-in tournament. Let's jump on a table like Pat Bev. Okay, maybe this isn't working out. What if we go to like the 56-point score? That'll be a happier ending because LeBron scored 56 points and the Lakers ended up sending Dyson Daniels.
This is nasty.
Yeah, if you subscribe to Chris Barrett and the most wonderful daily NBA recap or had just been attending the morning Hoop Spaces on Twitter, you have memories of all of the instances that I just mentioned. In fact, that's something there's something on slamgoods.com right now that would allow you to save 15% using the promo code HoopSpaces on a piece of this day of Mavericks history. And maybe GM Nico Harrison is looking to make a trade to make things better for Luka Doncic or solicit ideas from our daily space on how to get a team that got swept in the Western Conference Finals, at least as far as they got last year. Or maybe this is just another instance of heliocentric basketball producing a firework that will fizzle when it's time to play meaningful basketball, especially when Spencer Dinwiddie, who had a great game last night, 25 points over 44 minutes, is your best, most consistent secondary option.
Some rough words, man. Rough words. Extra point. You left out the end, but you nailed the Slam Goods and Hoop Spaces promo. I will get you an extra point for that. All right, let's go 6 to 12. You got something on this game, or are you queued up for the Memphis Grizz?
No. I wanna talk about Luka Doncic, man. I mean,
all right, go ahead. You got like 40 seconds so I can get Snoogin in here and we'll close it out. All right.
So Luka Doncic, man, I just he's incredible. Like just as a fan of the NBA, watching him play, it's something that I don't think we'll see again. But I want to put something out there. I don't want to because I am a Pelicans fan. But if I was a Dallas fan, the pairing of Luka Doncic and Brandon Ingram would be absolutely disgusting. I'm gonna end it right there.
I knew you would say that. TJ, Luka's not going to Golden State. Stop it before you get the ear of every Mavs fan in existence, specifically Jazz. You do not want Jazz against you. I would delete that tweet before she sees it. Shout out Jazz. Like I know for a fact, like she was probably watching this game, wanting to criticize the entirety of the Dallas Mavericks organization, but couldn't because of the miraculous nature of one, Luka Donsk him is what I've been hearing. We'll go to Snoogans, who's popped up here. Snoogans, give yourself a quick 30 about Luka. We'll close out with Rolo and Jose.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Well, first, I just wanted to give a life lesson I was taught a long time ago from my dad. To hate on somebody's success is never a good look. So we'll just leave it at that. And then since the newsletter was brought up, I just wanted to make sure, because it is a very good newsletter that Who Space has. It's a very good read, just like the Space is a very good space about basketball. But since, it was mentioned that those high scores were mentioned in those letters, I just want to make a suggestion, Hoop Spaces. Maybe you can, in every letter moving forward, you can have a section in there about NBA final meltdowns. And you can have one in there just on Tatum alone. Because he's the only player in NBA history to have their field goal percentage drop every single quarter in every game played in NBA Finals. So maybe you can also include that in your letter and as a daily reminder that's never happened before in NBA history. Hope everybody has a blessed Wednesday. Make it
The hate on Jason Tatum coming through strong.
I mean, you would either have to do that, or you would have to, find videos of Luka even making the NBA Finals to
And Chris Paul put like a word. Chris Paul, Christian, put like a word with you. What are we talking about right now?
The finals, because he made it there, with the Phoenix Suns. That was great too.
Does anybody even remember Chris Paul in the finals?
It was run round.
Hell no.
One round further than Luka. That's all I remember.
No, I'm just asking. Do you remember him?
No, his final performance was just as good as Tatum's. Just as memorable too.
Man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close this out, and we're going to move on to the pitifulness of my 76ers losing to the Washington Wizards despite 74 combined points by Joel Embiid and James Harden. Rolo, Jose, you two take it away. What you got to close us out?
Go ahead, Jose.
Already. So, free Joel Embiid. If he would have put up 48 on the Dallas Mavericks with Luka Doncic, we wouldn't be here talking about a loss. Joel Embiid needs to get away from Glenn Rivers, and James Harden is already on his way out as of now. So, yeah, sorry, Chris. The boos are from Philly fans, of course, because they're booing their own team and their own legacy that is about to blow up of the process. The process blew up with Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid is just the last stamp.
Wow.
The process was done when Sam Hinkie was fired. We'll never know what the process would actually have been, but if you want to know close to a proximity of what it would have been, he was going along the lines of what Sam Presti was able to pull off in Oklahoma.
All right, I'll just be really quick. Last night we saw a Herculean effort by Luka Doncic, but all that was lost in the kerfuffle is the wonderful coaching job. Psych. From one Jason Kidd. So yeah, I mean, we'll let that lie because we got a W. But yeah, we'll see how Coach Kidd continues coaching the rest of the season. And also, I don't know if you guys caught it, but Mark Cuban sent a tweet out, and he got cooked by a lot of people online about getting Luka some help. I would really love to see what Ryan has on the cardio rankings for people that play an average of 12 minutes plus. Like for a total team, I'd really like to see what that is because I would say that the Mavericks probably have at least 4 or 5 members on that squad. But anyway, I'll let it go there. It was a good W. Sorry, Knicks fans. I know that was a bad loss, but it is a regular season. I don't think you guys have anything to worry about. Brunson wasn't there. RJ Barrett was lost early in the game, so I think that you guys will be just fine.
Can I ask a really quick question, Rob?
Sure. Yeah,
do you really trust anybody to get Luka some help who would approve the Davis Bertans trade? Do you really? If someone actually did that,
I mean, we we got to start at the root, right? We got to start at the root. So I mean, Mark Cuban, shout out to Jose. He had mentioned, I don't know if he mentioned it in this space, but Mark Cuban was on the Knuckleheads pod, and he had admitted himself that he'd been responsible for all the moves that have happened. Obviously because he is the owner. So he's number one. Hopefully, now that he's put the target on himself, hopefully a lot more people start holding him accountable for what's going on with the Mavericks. If the Mavericks had any other, I would say even just slightly better role players, maybe we close out some of those other games that we had the opportunity to win. But, it is what it is. Hopefully we're on an uptick now, and we'll see what happens the rest of the season.
Yeah, I've got a spoiler for your uptick, Rolo. 61 minutes of bench points for 2 for 12.
Exactly.
Oh man, like I just shout out to Luka Doncic. If you watched it live, congratulations, you watched history live. If you weren't able to watch it live, it's worth it. You don't need to. It's worth it. Like, just take some time out when you do have time. Skip the first half if you want, but watch the second half, especially the closing as the Knicks pull off their best Los Angeles Clippers impersonation. Not pulling off a Los Angeles Clippers impersonation, the 76ers lost fair and square to the Washington Wizards, 116-111. Failing Joel Embiid, who had a 48-point performance for 10 boards, and James Harden, who had 26 and 13. Combined 74 points, 17 rebounds, 14 assists, 5 steals, and 4 blocks, ladies and gentlemen, on 52% shooting, going 23 for 24 from the line. And what did I have to deal with? PJ Tucker. 19 minutes, 1 shot, 0 points. Georges Niang, 28 minutes, 1 for 7.
Sheesh.
Shake Milton turned back into Shake Milton. 17 minutes, 0 for 2. I just question if that DeAnthony Melton could go better than 2 for 6 in 35 minutes. Maybe we don't lose to the Wizards. Now, for those of you who want to unload, now is the time, because this really wasn't a Doc thing, in my opinion. They could not hit shots. They were 6 for 31 from deep. That's 19%. That is not going to win you games in the NBA. JF Cake is up here. He went and had a little back and forth. We've got Jasmine from Winsider up here. Ham has returned. Mark is up here. We'll get Mark in a second. Jay the Wakandan has joined us. JF, what do you got for us this morning?
Morning, Chris. My first question is, how much Doc Rivers got you on payroll to go ahead and continue this propaganda of him being a great coach?
I am on zero payroll, as anybody said. Nobody's paying me. What I have is pure objectivity. He's the 4th winningest NBA playoff coach of all time. He's a top 10 winning NBA coach of all time, both in total wins and in win percentage. He's won a championship, multiple playoff berths, and only 2 or 3 losing seasons in 20 plus years. How is that not great?
Chris, you're not saying that with enough conviction in your heart. I don't think you truly.
Well, no, I don't need to say it with any conviction, because it's a fact. I'm just giving you a fact objectively here.
So what I got from last night's games is that Jason Kidd, even though Luka scored 60 points, was able to get the W off of a team that only has 1 player. Now, the same thing could be said for Doc Rivers if he got the W, and the Knicks are not the Wizards. So this is why I even had to say that Jason Kidd kind of upped him last night on being a better coach, because even when your superstar drops, what are you doing to help facilitate your other guys on your team? And that's where I think sometimes he might fail, because I think his best bet is to have a big guy and just hopefully that big guy shines, because a lot of times I see that even if a star player misses, it's usually Paul Reed that comes to save you guys. And I don't think I think he just sets him up for a low pick and roll, whatnot with him. and I think he just lets Joel Embiid be Joel Embiid. But I don't think Doc Rivers is a great coach. I think Jason Kidd did a better job than him last night.
I think the Sixers got caught in a trap game after winning 8 in a row, including the Christmas game, and got caught looking ahead to New Orleans. That's way more viable than anything you just said.
I mean, Chris, it doesn't matter how much excuses you put for Doc Rivers. At the end of the day, you know he's going to break your heart in the playoffs. I'm just trying to help you before you ride the whole season out with this propaganda. I mean, you can definitely cut ties. The Nets fans did it with Steve Nash. It's not that hard.
Like the hilarious part, once again, is like the reason why I'm not trying to sell it with conviction, JF, is because it's just a fact. Like I hate to break it to you. Like facts just don't change because we don't like them.
Okay,
they're still a fact.
You said Joe Mazzulla has the best winning percentage, but do you consider him a great coach?
I believe he is on a historic start to a potentially great career like Doc Rivers.
And you know what, Chris? Because you said that, I'm just going to say this to end it all. And with my good mornings is that, again, last night also proved that Jaylen Brown is better than Jason Tatum. He's a lot more consistent, even if it's a point better.
What?
Even if it's a point better.
Wow.
Again, Chris, somebody just said it. What has Jason Tatum done in the finals? I mean, at least we've seen Jimmy Butler show up. We had that famous meme of him.
What has Luka done in the finals?
Wow.
It is what it is, Chris.
Are y'all? What's going on? Did nobody have coffee this morning? Are y'all need Chick-fil-A breakfast?
Yes, talk about that nasty ass Chick-fil-A breakfast.
Well, they need something. A shot of espresso, something.
Wow. Hey, JF, man, I'm giving you a point saying Jaylen Brown better than Jason Tatum. We gotta talk.
Please, let's do it.
What has Albie ISO done to you people? What is going on?
Look, I don't even know where to start. The floor is open. Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, who you got? I'll get the poll out in a second.
Oh, Jaylen Brown all day.
Jaylen Brown,
get out of here.
More consistent.
It's Jason Tatum.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown actually shows up in big moments.
Thank you.
Oh, please.
Stop.
They've made the playoffs and gone deep in the playoffs every single year that they've been together.
Yeah, because he has Jaylen Brown.
Hey, I'll say this. This is my last thing I'll say.
Is it not okay to have a 1A, 1B? Like, why do we?
Yeah, no, it is. But it's just Tatum is a 1B. That's all.
They can switch. He could have a 1A night, and the next night he could have a 1B night.
I think Jaylen Brown,
except for when he gets to the finals, then he's 1C.
I think Jaylen Brown.
Okay, wow. How many of y'all face have choked in the finals, or even never been to the finals? Tatum and Brown got to the finals in year 6. In year 6 of their entire career, and a lot of people that y'all have been rooting for years have not even touched the finals, haven't even touched the semifinals. And in year 6, even though he choked, he's still gonna go back because you know why? They're the number 1 team in the East, baby.
Well, Jasmine, you want to know something really interesting? I know somebody. I know somebody at 20 years old that won a finals.
Okay.
So I guess there's always that, Jasmine. I guess there's always a rule to the exception, huh?
I can hear him because it cut out. Thanks.
Oh, he said he knows somebody who's 20 years old and won the finals.
Who?
Rest in peace to the greatest player ever.
He's talking about Kobe. And that's great. Kobe is an all-time great. You know, certainly better than Anthony Davis. No question about it.
Oh, my bad. I thought he was talking about Magic Johnson.
He sure is.
I'm like this is getting out of hand. I'm really still stuck on this idea of Jaylen Brown versus Jason Tatum.
I'm not mad at that conversation because for a while I felt like I had the same conversation with myself, Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. Like, who do you want to be what? But honestly, I just feel like they just feed off of each other's energy. Like, that's just how it goes. When one is having an off night, the other one picks up. But everybody looks for Tatum to be the number 1 option. I don't hear Tatum saying, "Oh, I'm the number 1. The ball needs to be in my hand."
So, Chris, can I just say one important fact real quick that I've noticed from both of them? I think Jaylen Brown is a better person going to the rim, and if that were the truth, I would put the ball in his hands during the bubble because I'm pretty sure he would have got the score over Bam. But since that didn't happen, you know what I'm saying? We're dealing with what we're dealing with.
Y'all, you know what it is? I just don't think y'all like Jason Tatum's photo shoot. JB, go ahead.
Issue is the answer to this question is that it's Jason Tatum, but not by a lot. I mean, if you look at the regular season right now, right, you're still looking at 31.1 points by Jason Tatum to Jaylen Brown's 27. It's a 4-point difference. It's, again, just on average, right? Jason Tatum also gets more rebounds. He also gets more assists. They're tied in steals, but Jason Tatum technically has a little bit more in blocks. Like, again, the 1A, 1B conversation is 100%, down. There are definitely games where Jaylen Brown is better than Jason Tatum. But if we're talking about an entire season, right, and who's the best player right now as we all sit here talking on the Celtics, it's Jason Tatum. Not by a lot, but it's Jason Tatum.
I'm still this is hard, man.
And this came from a conversation about Luka.
Yeah. Never discount gravity, and Luka now has gravity. Another good question is Jaylen Brown the best player from the 2016 draft? That's the real question. And I think the answer is yes. Brandon Ingram and Domantas Sabonis maybe 2 and 3.
You don't like Ben Simmons?
No, I like Ben Simmons. But when we're talking about like the best of the draft, he's probably not the best in the draft any longer.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. In the same, I don't know. It's probably, I think it is Jaylen Brown. I think he's better than Brandon Ingram. Right.
I mean, you can make an argument for Domantas Sabonis because I know for a fact that his win shares are the highest in the draft in his career in that draft. So if you go by win shares, it would be Domantas Sabonis. But that's just because the stats, the way win shares is calculated, the stats aid Domantas because he rebounds at a higher clip than anybody.
Yeah. I mean, all I know is all of the great Indiana Pacers and Sacramento Kings runs that have gone down in Thomas here. Much performer. Let's get him in the finals. I bet he'll do better than Jason Tatum.
Here's an oddity from that draft as I'm looking at it. I believe that Ante Zizic was going to be a player in this league. I thought he was going to be like what Nurk is, like a 15-10 guy. If you're down below, I got to clear out some hands and make some room. We just kind of devolved into this Boston Celtics thing. We were supposed to move on to the Memphis Grizzlies, so we're going to move to this Grizzlies talk because the moment Ja Morant said that they had nothing to fear in the West, like the West is straight, we good, things ain't been good. We'll go to 6 of the 12 first. I ask you, if you look up there before the who you got and stuff, there is a table. It is the top 3 teams in the West. I'm asking you what sticks out. We'll clear these hands up with Memphis, and then we'll go to Mark and say good morning. We'll go to 6 of the 12 first, and Evan, Jada Wakandan, and we'll get some more voices involved. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. That's your cue.
Oh, my bad. Somebody walked up on me and he wanted to tell me hello. No, so first things first, I had to comment on the Jaylen Brown, Brandon Ingram thing. I know, availability is the biggest key right here. Brandon Ingram has not been available for most of the last 2 years. But I'm telling you, when he gets healthy, it's going to remind everybody who Brandon Ingram is. You can like it or not, whatever you want to do about it. And he's possibly the best player on the Pelicans team as well. So that's the scary part. You can ask pretty much anyone in New Orleans who watches every game. That's pretty much how we feel too about it. But I want to get on this Ja Morant rant a little bit because I remember him saying this to Malika. Whenever he said this to Malika, they were 8-8 in the West. All right, 8-8. That means you are 500. You are a 500 team against the West. You are 3-2 in your own division. All right. I just like not many teams like Memphis already. Like they want to play against Memphis just for how they act, as far as the dancing and the and how John Morant goes on Twitter and goes on his little rants like he's in high school. And I'm not like, look, I love John Morant as a player. He's very talented. I just think he has a lot more to prove before he can just go ahead and just start talking crazy like that, especially to Malika Walker. But I just I just don't know how you can say that when you don't even have a winning record against the West at the time. And granted, you were out of Desmond Bane for an amount of games. But there are a lot of teams in the West that have not been fully healthy this entire year. So it's just like that kind of irks me, man. And honestly, I hope the Pelicans get like a series of the Memphis Grizzlies and the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs. I think that would just be just so exciting, to be honest with you. John Morant and Zion are really good friends. They played AAU basketball together. I mean, can we talk about that team for a second? Like, imagine having John Morant and Zion on the same team when they're 12, 13 years old. But yeah, that's my wish. I just can't get over that. I sent you that little snippet right there up on a big board, but I can't get over him saying that, and then him not having the whereabout of where they are right now. I can see possibly of him thinking in the future, but you got to have a winning record to say something like that. And I'm gonna leave it to the floor.
All right, there you go. I think also at times, like, a lot of people just don't want to admit that they are wrong about a player, right? Like, and I think everybody had a specific view of Ja Morant because he was framed, narratively speaking, in a specific way by the media and his highlights and his rise to superstardom. And like now, people I think are seeing a little bit more of actually the real Ja Morant, and like some people are kind of pushed off by it. I'm not. I'm down for it. Jasmine, if you need to, you might have to bounce out to come back up. For some reason, we're going through another cycle of like people losing connectivity. If you do, just exit the app and come back in. Want to give a shout out down below to some people. Warren in the building, Sage in the building. Congrats, Sage, on the victory last night. Viral Nico making some time to be able to catch us. CT Pittman in the house. Nightingale. Who Liam is in. Zach, Afisha, Eddie, Joe, Barry, Mackenzie. Appreciate Logan the Foot coming in here. Evan Townsend coming back up to the stage. Lots of people who have made their day part of ours. We're appreciative. If you could do us the favor, look up top, and there's a tweet, and that's what we call the show card. It just tells you, that we're here, we're open. If you could like and retweet that helps. It helps me when Slam Goods wants to talk and say, hey, man, we really like what you're doing. Maybe we could throw some money behind you. But in order to get that point, I need more of you who come in every day to like and retweet that one specific tweet. If you could. Like, if you can't, try to remember to do it later, because it doesn't matter when you do it, as long as that you do it. That's what we need. We'll go next to Jay the Wakandan. Jay, what's up?
What's up, everybody? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that jazz. Here's the thing y'all need to understand. Memphis is a crap talking town. That's just what we do. Jonesing, dozens, whatever you want to call it, that's a love language in Memphis. So the thing is about Ja, since he said it, and I'm not going to count the OKC game because he got threw out unjustly. Denver, he had 35 and 10 assists in a night where they went 5 for 26 from three. Against Golden State, he had 36 and 8 on a night where they went 9 for 39 from three. Against Phoenix, he had 35 and 10 in a night where they went 8 for 30 from three. Even though the offense is Ja, drive to the hoop, collapse the defense, and kick it out. So even despite his team deciding to shoot like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist collectively, since he's made that statement, Ja has picked up his end of the bargain. Ja was right to say Ja ain't worried about the West. The issues with the Grizzlies start with one Taylor Jenkins. Taylor Jenkins is our version of Scotty Brooks.
Damn.
Yeah, I said it.
That's messed up, bro.
Scotty Brooks also won 60 games a couple of times, took a young team to the finals. And what has Scotty Brooks done since when he didn't have an overwhelming talent advantage? You ain't really heard a lot from Scotty Brooks since, right? And that's what we have in Memphis. The perimeter defense has been putrid. The defensive principles have been putrid. It makes no sense that we're in December and guys don't know how we're defending pick and roll. That makes no sense. I get guys have been out, and I'm going to tell you something, 6 of the 12, be careful about getting healthy, okay? Because I thought once we get healthy, we're going to be good. We got healthy, and we've been bad. And so much so that when I suggested maybe Bey should come off the bench until he gets his rhythm so that we can play with a bigger, more defensive-minded lineup, I say slot Zaire Williams and all 6'9" of his frame at the 2, that way we can play defense. Another thing that would help the Memphis Grizzlies play defense is just engage the team earlier. Put Ja on the logo and make them set that pick that they want to set on Ja 45 feet from the basket instead of 30 feet from the basket. Make them run their offense 5 to 7 feet further than they want to run. That way, the Grizzlies actually can see the rotation they're supposed to be making. And the other thing is, Taylor Jenkins, if you're listening to this, instead of shooting the threes that are open, because in the NBA, you're open for a reason. Use it as a runway to get to the rim because that's what teams are terrified of you. And the other thing is, Santi Aldama, better than Brandon Clark. He should have more than one shot. When he's on the second unit, the offense should run through Santi Aldama. It should not run through Tyus Jones. It should not run through Brandon Clark. It should not even really be run through Bane or Ja Morant with the second unit. Not even Dylan Brooks. It should be run through Slim Spain. You have a 3-level scorer at 6'10", that can do a lot of stuff, but you got to give them license to do it, okay? When they run zone, don't put Brandon Clark in the middle of it. He has no idea what to do. No idea. He no longer even has the skill set to hit that mid-range jumper, even though he's working on it. He's not confident in it yet, and he can't pull it off 10 times a game to destroy a zone. You know who you can put in the middle of that zone? Slim Spain.
Slim Spain.
I don't know what's going on with Jaren Jackson Jr. I don't know if he didn't get the Christmas gift he had been hinting at for months. I don't know what's going on with Jaren Jackson, but mentally, he's checked out, and he doesn't want to do the stuff that's necessary to win us ball games. And I get that the refs are having a weird whistle with him. But he needs to understand that we need you to do your damage in the paint. And if the refs are going to call an offensive foul, barrel through his chest. Make the offensive foul hurt. Don't get the touch offensive foul. Send him into the stanchion. That way, the next time, the guy has to make a choice. Does he want to draw a charge? Or does he want to just give you that little baby hook over your shoulder? But this has been a team of half measures since they've gotten healthy. And half measures and scared money don't win in the NBA. And Taylor, listen. It's okay to adjust in the middle of the quarter. That's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine to say, you know what, this ain't working tonight, and try something different. It's December. It's all right. So, yeah, Ja is absolutely right to not to be worried about the West. What he should be worried about is Taylor Jenkins and the mentality and the defensive rotations of his teammates. That's what he needs to be worried about. Thank you.
Taylor Jenkins, 46 winning percentage his first year as a coach. 528, 683, 606 so far. 57% win percentage, 41% in the playoffs. Scott Brooks, if you remember, he took over in Oklahoma City. 32% winning percentage his first season. 61, 67, 71, 73, 72, 55, 60, 52 all the way through Washington, and then he lost in the last 3, although he did take the Wizards to the playoffs 3 times. It's not bad. Not a bad comparison. 6 out of 12 is having a spasm. Like his thumb keeps hitting the screen. What's up, 6?
Hey, look, Chris, I'm literally laughing over here. And look, I love Jada Wakanda, tech support. All right, like I mean, he's a great guy on Twitter. But do you understand what you just said? Look, no one is doubting Ja Morant, but you just mentioned basically the whole team plus the coach is just not in line with Ja Morant. That kind of testifies to the under 500 in the West right now. That's kind of my point. Like, no one questions how good Ja Morant is and how much he can talk shit, but like it's just it don't really like align with what he's saying. If his team's not playing well, if his coach isn't coaching the way he should be coaching for his personnel, or whatever the case may be, then that just goes right in line with what we were saying as far as what we were saying over here online just now. But I will say that I did mention yesterday, like I do agree with what you said about Desmond Bane coming back. And I've said the same thing about when BI comes back and we have a full starting 5. There's going to be probably like 5 or 6 games where we lose some games we shouldn't lose. There's going to be some games that the ball just stops and we're just dribbling it, trying to find an offense to get in rhythm. It takes a while for your team to come together. So look, I agree with what you said about that, but the whole, you mentioned basically the whole team besides Ja Morant. That's kind of what we were talking about. That's all.
Well, all he really wants is for Larry Brown to come out of retirement to coach the Memphis Grizzlies like he coached Alabama.
God, no. Oh, God, no. No.
Oh, and Larry Brown is the perfect answer.
Larry Brown always wants to trade half his roster week to week. It's just a different 7 of the 15 guys.
Well, it sounds exactly what you want to do.
Nah, I don't.
Y'all give Larry Brown too much, like hate.
It's not hate. It's just that the game passed Larry Brown so far that he couldn't even hack it in college. Right? Like you remember,
but he would have Santi Aldama in the mid post though.
You remember the legend Emmanuel Mudiay? Oh,
stop it.
I'm just saying that was a Larry Brown recruit and draft pick. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, the issue with the Grizzlies is
they don't have a vet.
They don't have a vet, and they also want to win the game in a way that isn't conducive to pain, and they don't shoot well enough to win a game that's not conducive to pain. And to be honest with you, to win in the NBA, you got to be able to have some pain tolerance. It sucks fighting through screens. You got to do it in order to win. It sucks having to box out. You got to do it in order to win. It sucks having to close out, stop on a dime, guard the drive, force baseline, know your personnel. All that stuff sucks. It's not sexy, it's not glamorous, but it's what you got to do to win. And Memphis being a young team, last year, by the time they got to the second round and playing with Golden State, they were playing with house money, right? And this year, first year with real expectations. And so I think this is the heartbreak year for Memphis. To be honest with you, like all the signs are pointing to it. I think this is the year.
You know what I see? I see that they should have probably traded Dylan Brooks and kept Kyle Anderson. That's what I see.
Nah, Kyle isn't as good a defender.
Doesn't need to be. What they are missing is what he provided.
Yeah, the ball movement. But see, again, that's on coaching, right? That's on Taylor Jenkins not saying, hey, listen, guys, we're not going to shoot a 3 in any quarter until we shoot 4 free throws. Just simple tweaks of their mindset and putting different mechanisms in place saying, all right, they want to pick on Ja Morant with screen roll. Let's put Ja at the logo and make him run that 45 feet away from the basket. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just little.
You'll be okay. You'll be okay. You'll be okay.
No, he won't.
Well,
He's got to go.
it's not your year.
Yeah, but it could be. It could be with the right coach. I just don't know who that coach is right now.
Oh, well, let's ask Mark. Mark might know. Mark Edwards, everybody of Monstar Labs. Dude is one of the best trainers you can meet in the game. Literally earning people dollar signs and teaching them how to make buckets. You have the Knicks nicking Mark. You've got the Hall of Fame-esque performance by Luka. You've got the 76ers blowing 74 points with Harden and Embiid. You've got the Lakers winning. Like, where do you want to go? You got your boy, the Golden State Warriors, 110-105. Looked good last night. Nuggets winning. What you got?
I mean, we could start with Luka. Since that game didn't take place in Madison Square Garden, I'm not gonna give it all the love and all the celebration it's getting. Luka's very ball dominant. He does this on a regular basis. So it doesn't really surprise me that he does come up with this kind of number. The issue with Luka is, can he play this style of basketball and win? Because we're seeing a lot of inflated numbers. If you look at, the scoring averages of a lot of these, top players right now, like, they're going crazy, and they're doing it in less time than it took their predecessors. Because nowadays, a top guy is going to play about 35 minutes a game, whereas, in the NBA's heyday, the last 20 years, guys were actually averaging, the top guys were playing, 40 minutes a game, 39 minutes a game, 42 minutes a game. LeBron, Iverson, those guys lead the NBA in minutes played, dropping 40 and 42 minutes. That's a big difference. So these guys are supposedly a little bit more efficient, or I think the three ball adds to it. So watching Lucas drop 60, it was impressive, especially when he went 21 for 31. I liked it. He didn't throw up a lot of threes or whatever, but I want to see him do that in a winning way. I want to see him have one of those performances in the playoffs that matter. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, I mean, we can basically just chalk it up to saying, so what? We saw James Harden do it for like 8 years in Houston. We've seen inflated numbers all over the place. Like, unless he does it where it really counts, I'm not counting it. If he does it in the Garden, now we could talk. We could talk history. You know what I'm saying? That's hollow ground. You know what I'm saying? So I love it. I love it, but I don't really like it. You know what I'm saying? So we're
sounds like French fries, man. Just overrated French fries.
It's overrated. Like, okay. Like, I wasn't like, oh my God, I got to go back to the replays when I heard Kobe hit 81 and I watched the game in the second half and I was like, what? Like, what's going on? So yeah.
All right.
I definitely want to touch on the Ja Morant thing. I like Ja as a player. I like his skill set, athletic ability, and so forth. What I don't like is his mouth. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the banter. I don't like the character that he's creating. I'm tired of, in our culture, in American culture, we are the culture that, the guys with the most money, people with the most money look to the poorest people and we emulate them. Like, Ja, you're not in the hood no more. And let's be clear, you never grew up in the hood. You grew up in the country. But all this extra hood stuff, all this extra dancing, like, I would love to see him not necessarily humble himself. I definitely want to see him talk junk and be competitive. But my thing is, when you talk junk and be competitive, call out a player, right? And say, nah, when I play against such and such, I'm going to get at him. Call out Steph Curry. Call out guys. Let me see that. I don't like the whole, I ain't looking at nobody in the, the Western Conference, we looking towards the East, as if you're going to jump over those guys in the West and automatically get to the championship. Like, how? Like, I'm going to tell you, matter of factly, I ain't going to mention no names, but somebody on the Golden State roster said it was easy beating Memphis. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was a joke. When they started playing Whoop That Trick, it was a joke because they always like, we going to show you what Whoop That Trick mean when we get back home. So, like, he doesn't really understand the NBA game and the politics of it yet. And honestly, until he can shoot 35% from the three-point line, he's never going to be the threat he's supposed to be. I think he's shooting close to like 33% from three. He takes about 5 a game. He's got to up those numbers. He makes like 1 out of 5, like 1.5 out of 5 or something like that. He got to up his numbers in regards to shooting the ball. NBA players have to back up when dealing with Ja because he's so fast. He explodes to the basket really well at another level, actually. And you got to back up. You're always on your heels. That's why he's able to walk into those three-point attempts. He walks into them, rhythms into them. That's why he had big games against Golden State last year. You know what I'm saying? But when he's not hitting, it's nasty time. It's nasty work. And that's what we saw the other day, against Golden State. And I'm going to say it again. He don't want no parts of Jordan. He don't check Jordan. And when he does check Jordan, Jordan puts him on his heels, you know what I'm saying, and looks at him like he's crazy. I'm going to say it over and over again. If Jordan Poole is a starter in the NBA, he averages the same amount or more than Ja Morant scoring the basketball. And we can argue with that all day long.
Not the Jordan Poole y'all were dragging last week in Spaces.
Oh, I wasn't dragging Jordan.
I trained
Now,
Jordan,
Chris,
so I know it wasn't me.
y'all were sitting up here talking about they needed to move on from Jordan Poole and he wasn't worth the $40 million or however much he got. Y'all
Oh,
never
that
got
wasn't that was not me. Because I don't pocket watch like that.
Who said that?
I know there's a whole rack of people who they say it. I know I have.
Ooh, they need to speak up. I want to have that conversation.
Oh no, but see, before we had that conversation, I want to have a conversation about how NBA people don't know what they want. Because LeBron's been in the league 20 years. Oh, they too buddy. The AAU system is destroying basketball. Then Giannis comes in, not buddy, dominant, wins MVP, wins Defensive Player of the Year, wins Finals MVP, puts up a 50 burger in a clinching game. Y'all still don't like Giannis. So then
everybody loves Giannis.
No, stop it. Then
Giannis,
no, everybody
Giannis
does not
has
love
his
Giannis.
own shoe.
No, that's true.
Everybody does not love Giannis.
The only thing Giannis doesn't have is enough endorsement deals because he doesn't want to do them. He's like Luka. The European guys don't want to do the endorsement. They don't want the sponsorship stuff. They don't want to do the stuff.
What Jay is saying is like it wasn't baked in. Like people doubted Giannis until Giannis became unquestionably great. And then the moment he became unquestionably great, everybody loved Giannis, including like Fran Fraschilla, who didn't love Giannis. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what he's arguing here.
You're pretty much fake energy.
Well, let's be clear. Okay. So let's say this right. For our American players, especially the white American players, they get no love. They get no time to develop. They don't even get the opportunity that the European players get coming over here. If you look at Giannis, they took their time and let him. It was 4 years before he averaged 20 points a game. 4 years. It was like he came in like Luka and just took over the world. And with his wingspan, skill set, we still have never seen a player like him. But he came over here to America, you know what I'm saying? Got the proper diet, you know what I'm saying? Better skill set, the whole 9 yards, and became a dominant player. You know what I'm saying? The American players don't get that here. If you don't play well by your second year, they are off you. You look at his numbers. So this, he's been grown in the NBA, and they do love him. You know what I'm saying? Like he wouldn't have got MVP, if that wasn't the case. And now you got to think about it, like Giannis still, he don't call individual players out. That's what I'm talking about. Don't call out a whole conference. Call out individuals. I want to get back to that. I want to get back to, next when we play again, watch what happens. I want to see those individual matchups. I want to see the top player check the top player like they used to do back in the day. Even if it's just in the fourth quarter. You don't see that no more. You see random guys checking random guys. That's corny. But it is what it is. I can't control that.
Let me get Evan Townsend in here. We'll get Jasmine up in here. We'll get Jay's reply. One thing that I will say is the more and more I start watching Memphis, the more and more they morph into my 76ers of yesteryear. Take that as you may. What's up?
One thing, Chris, Jordan Poole as a starter, he averages 24 points a game. My fault, 26 points a game as a starter. I'll go back on mute.
All right. Yeah, I said it. I said it at the beginning of the season to a consternation of Dubs fans, and I've been saying it pretty consistently. The best lineup for the Warriors, if healthy, to compete and win another championship does not have Klay Thompson in the starting lineup. It has Jordan Poole, Steph, Jordan, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond, and probably by the time the finals get there, Kuminga. Kevon Looney will start, but Kuminga will get the bulk of the minutes to get some energy and defense off the bench. That's just my opinion. That's all. Evan, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Good morning, Chris. Jay, did you have a rebuttal with that? I know you were going back and forth. I know Memphis is your team.
Oh yeah, I got a rebuttal. Like, Ja Morant.
Why do you think I went to you first, Evan?
Listen. I felt like you had to get that off though. So
I love it.
So, yeah.
The problem with the Grizzlies now is they shoot too many threes. And you want Ja to shoot more threes? You're just a Golden State homer. Like that's like I would take.
You can't win in the NBA nowadays without shooting threes, though. Let's be clear.
You cannot
win.
Here's the thing about Ja. I would take his performance and the whistle he got last night in the playoffs. If you give me a Ja Morant that's going to shoot 12 plus free throws a game, that's going to alter these tight 8-9-man playoff rotations. That's the way Ja is. That's more effective because the threes that Ja is going to take isn't going to be the Golden State Jordan Poole threes where that's off of 2 passes and another swing action. The threes that Ja is going to end up taking are he's going to walk the ball up, they're going to go under the Steven Adams pick, and he's going to shoot a 3 with like 19 seconds on the shot clock. Those aren't, even though they're open, those aren't necessarily good shots. They don't get your teammates in rhythm. That's not Memphis's offense. So when you say Ja needs to shoot 8 threes a game, that's 3 more possessions a game where Ja doesn't swing the ball, Ja doesn't get his teammates involved, Ja doesn't get his teammates in rhythm. So no, analytically, sure, if he's hitting 35%, but I would argue that it's much more effective to get to the line 12 times, 14 times, and knock them down. Like that's the thing. And the other thing about Ja shooting,
he ain't trying to do that.
No, he's
his
not.
body is not going to be able to withstand that. That little baby body that got hurt in the playoffs last year is not going to be able to withstand him going to the free throw line like James Harden, of years ago. Like he goes to the free throw line 10 times a game. He's only playing 60 games a year, and he might miss the playoffs.
Well, he's already only playing 60 games a year.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's think about that.
But no,
so be careful what you wish for.
Again, I said if he got the whistle that he got last night.
But the whistle doesn't take away from the fact that he got pounded. He got pounded and got the foul. Okay. But now if he can't play the next game, yeah.
How many?
Remember, you guys celebrated when he dropped 40-something on Golden State last year. And the majority of the points he had was the threes that made the big difference. So y'all got to pick a poison.
Let me ask it this way to y'all too. Does this go away if Ja Morant watches tape of DeMar DeRozan and learns how to control his mid-range game and actually control the defense by manipulating them and getting to his spots consistently with the mid-range? Like, it just seems like what you're complaining is that he's just an incomplete player.
I don't think so, because I think he moves too fast. He moves too fast to be able to have a mid-range game without destroying his knees. If you watch him go downhill, his first step is the quickest in the NBA. It's the quickest in the NBA by far. That first step is murder. So for him to be able to take that first step, blow by you, and then be able to pull up, that's not a skill set I don't think his body will be able to withstand. If you look at DeMar is very good. He's one of the better athletes in the world, like DeMar DeRozan. If you watch him, he'll get you on that first step, but he'll give you a body bump or whatever, and he'll elevate. That's been his game his entire life. that mid-range game. You can't just add that to your game with the speed he has and all that. God ain't going to give you everything. He's just not. God ain't going to give you everything. He ain't going to give you that burst of speed and you be able to pull up on the dime and hit that 15-footer.
All right, I feel you. I was just wondering because to me he lacks that masterful control so far. Go ahead, Jay. What you got?
I was going to say, you have the right idea. It's just the wrong player. The player he should be watching more so is Tony Parker, not DeMar DeRozan. Because Tony Parker, when he came to the league, was lightning fast, right? So the thing is with Ja is that
great point.
They're not running the right sets. Because if you run horns and you run Spanish pick and roll with Jaren and Steven Adams, you get 3 defenders involved, and now you got to get 4 in, and that's when the Grizzlies would become dangerous because, quite frankly, Golden State does not have the personnel to deal with Memphis if they're running horns, Spanish pick and roll. They don't have, like, Draymond is not going to be able to compete with a vertical lob to Jaren Jackson Jr. The issue is Jenkins doesn't run that. Jenkins, because he's from the Budenholzer tree, he runs a jump shooting offense with a non-jump shooting team. And so Jaren is not a proximity for Giannis, even though offensively Ja is better than Drew Holiday. So and then they want Bane to be kind of the Chris Middleton of that offense, and Bane is not tall enough to go from the free throw line and then muscle his way to a mid-range jumper. He is built like a running back. He can get to the cup, but with those short arms, he has to be really creative with his finishing. And so the way Jenkins has developed this team and this offense, it's almost like he decided we're going to focus on what y'all don't do good in the hopes that in 2-3 years down the line, you're going to be more complete. And my argument with that is that's fine, but that should have been phase 2. Phase 1 is you definitely do what you do best, and then you develop those secondary things as counters. And right now, what you're seeing with the Memphis is, if you stop what they really want to do, they have no counters. They just start putting up non-competitive threes that say, yeah, you know what? I don't want to go to the rim. I don't want to get hacked. This is going to hurt. This sucks. I don't really want to be here anymore. And that's what you're seeing with Memphis. A lot of these threes that they're shooting are non-competitive, I don't want to be here threes. They're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's what Ja needs to do is figure out how to get the lobs to Jaren, how to get those post-entry passes to Jaren, and then Jaren has to get mean. If he has to swing around with his elbows high like Karl Malone, then so be it. But Jaren
You can't do that.
No,
You can't do that in this NBA.
You can. And I'm not, because this is the conversation I would have with Jaren. They're gonna
hold up and
anyway.
hold that thought. Let me break in because I'm a little bit over time. I wanted to get this around 11:30. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming in to Hoop Spaces. We want to say thank you for making any part of your day part of ours. You're hearing a riveting discussion on Memphis Grizzlies. We're going to go into some more games after this, but we also have to do some college scores because we're giving you the top 25 men's and women's. Brought to you by SlamGoods.com. Head over to SlamGoods.com. Use our promo code HoopSpaces. Save 15% off of your entire purchase. Go pick up a digital, subscription. Go pick up a Funko Head bobblehead collectible, $20. Use promo code HoopSpaces. Save some money, and then go get yourself a proper cup of coffee. Last night, top 25, ladies and gentlemen, women's action. We will get to the Texas Tech win over Mississippi Valley State, 68-45. Tennessee, ladies and gentlemen, back into it, 92-53. Oh, wow. I actually go in all the scores. Tennessee over Wofford, 92-53. Wichita State over South Carolina State, 105-38. And Oregon State over North Carolina A&T, 89-52. Men's college, you had one game, top 25. UT Austin, the Texas Austin Longhorns, 97-72 over Texas A&M. And I want to say it was Commerce or Corpus Christi, one of the other smaller A&Ms. that nobody knows about. Brought to you once again by slamgoods.com. Head over to slamgoods.com. Use promo code WhoSpaces. Save 15%. If you're down below and you want to come on up, now's the time. Raise your hand. Jay, appreciate it. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, while you were discussing all those HBCUs, for those who don't know, shout out to Bethune-Cookman for getting Ed Reed to be their football coach. The SWAC East should be fantastic this year. Hopefully, Ed Reed can get a couple of guys in the portal and make Bethune-Cookman competitive. So I'm really looking forward to that. So shout out to them, the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman. But nah, like, and the other thing about Ja talking noise is what I saw when Ja said we ain't worried about the West is a lot of teams who aren't Grizzlies fans took that as a personal slight. And I get it, right? But I think what Ja was doing was setting expectations for his team. He was letting his team know that my expectations of us is we're going to the finals, right? And obviously the team hasn't responded to that challenge the way we would like. There's guys we're folding back in off the injury list. Rotations are weird. Conchar, who's been starting a lot this season because of the absence of Ja or the absence of Bane, is now on the bench. And so there's a lot of things that Memphis is going to have to work through mid-season that normally, ideally, you work through the first 20 games of the season. But I don't – I think Ja really meant that as a leader for his team. And Ja leads his team the way Ja leads his team. And if y'all don't like it, I get it, but I don't understand what that got to do with y'all.
Well, see, I think what it is, man, is as somebody who has a player who trolls, like Joel Embiid is the best troll in the NBA right now, like hands down. You have to, as a Sixers fan, understand that, like, generally speaking, most other fans they like him as a player and what he produces. But if he gets on their player or their team, they instantly hate Joel Embiid. And what I think is the lack of awareness is that people are honing in on Ja, and Ja's brazen youth saying I could care less. That's all.
But let's talk about it though. So, all right, when we talk about NBA players, the one thing that really turns an NBA player on, the way you get at them, is their psyche, right? So when you have a player saying, like they're not thinking about you, or we're not worried about your team or whatever, all you're doing is feeding the psyche of a team. If you guys ever listen to a timeout in an NBA game, you don't necessarily hear them, speaking in code. You don't hear them saying, "Oh, okay, we're gonna call this play, this play, this play, and this play, and hey, make sure you set the screen down there, blah blah blah." No, the conversations are, okay, we gotta run faster. You guys gotta get back on the boards. Hey, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. It's all about momentum. It's all about bringing their energy up, so on and so forth. It's about training their mentality. They're already professionals. They already, like, we've seen Steph Curry hit 77 threes or 90 threes in a row. We've seen Devin Booker hit a certain amount of threes in a row. His mental is in a good place right there. So now when you challenge another team and you tweak their mental and you have them on alert, now they're really up to playing against you. Like, they're up. Like, you gotta think about it. Dudes playing 82 games, back-to-back games, 4 games in 1 week, 3 games in 1 week, playing through the holidays. Like, some games, dudes come in there like blase. But if we about to play Memphis, and I know Ja been talking smack, and we on our group chat,
we
on the phone, yeah, we like, oh, let's, what he said? What he said? Oh, yeah, we here. Oh, we here.
We here. Yo, we gonna
exactly.
smash.
That's what I'm. So that's, for me, that's bad leadership. You got to play possum with some of these teams. Don't say nothing till you really got them in the chokehold. Then you might say something.
There's also another key too. If the players ain't going out the night before the game, like if they fly in and they got 2 days and they ain't going out, they focused, man, and ain't no one going out on Beale Street, dog. Like,
you did this.
Every time they hit Memphis, they are in the gym or in their hotel. Like, it's hilarious.
I'm just saying.
Let's get Evan in here. We've got the Hawks next. Disappointing Nate McMillans of the Atlanta Professional Basketball Club is where we're going to next as they get waxed by Indiana in Indiana. Evan, what do you got?
Yeah, no, I definitely did not want to get in between that. That was some great discourse. Very funny, very insightful. Shout out to Mark. Shout out to Jay. I was literally just gonna just butt in here and talk about Memphis's culture and how long that can really be. I want to say more lines popular, or how long you think that can be accepted. So realistically, John Morant is not necessarily like the enemy number one of the NBA, but he's kind of working towards that. And if you don't win, and if it's the same repetitive outcome every single year or similar outcomes every single year, how long until, I don't want to say he's on the lines of LeBron and people don't want to play with LeBron. Obviously, that's a different level of, of competition and obviously stature. But I don't think a lot of people, maybe 5 years from now, 6 years from now, unless Ja actually wins, a lot of people will want to play with him. And that could hurt him in terms of free agency. That could hurt the front office. And I just want to just bring that up to discuss because, this is all fun and games, right? They do the put that shit on dance, ooh, so cool, Memphis culture. Jake LaRavia is the cool, white boy swag kind of guy. But it's just like, how long can that last without, something, I don't want to say detrimental happening, but like until like maybe, I don't want to say Ja leaves or Jaren Jackson leaves, but until like they have no other choice but to make a really hard decision.
So like I remember Isaiah Thomas's ascension beating the Celtics, right? I remember Allen Iverson taking over the East as like the player nobody wanted to guard. I remember Stephon Marbury when he would get into a trance, like literally take over the game in a way that made you understood that like he was actually a very, very good basketball player. Just didn't have the right situation and maybe the wrong era of play, right? Like these polarizing players have always been part of the NBA, and players will play with them. The question that I have is, will a player stay? Right? They stayed with Jordan. They did not stay with Allen Iverson. They stayed with Larry Bird and Kobe Bryant. They did not stay with Zeke. And like these are valid questions. And a lot of it has to do with like the maturity of the player as a person. And unfortunately, like everybody matures differently at their own pace, and their maturity means different things. So like I think part of the problem is we are also judging Ja Morant on our version of what maturity is. And we just also have to understand, like, you got to let a person be who they are, and they're going to have to learn how to be who they are within the reactions of their environment. And I think if we take a breath, yeah, we'll say, okay, we don't like it. But in reality, it isn't anything different than what Zeke was doing in Detroit. And Zeke won 2 chips, right? It's not any different than what AI did in Philly. He didn't win anything. All right, like that's the fine line. Jasmine, help me walk it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I wholeheartedly understand and agree with what everybody is saying. Like, don't put your foot in your mouth before, you obtain some type of, like, winning or things like that, whether it be at the playoffs, a championship, however you guys determine to measure it. But kind of like what Chris said, like, we're all defining and measuring things on, like, different scales. And I think Ja is one of those people, like Russell Westbrook, like Allen Iverson. They're polarizing players. They're going to have their own personality, their own attitude, their own way of how they handle things. And there's nothing wrong with that. But earlier, we were talking about a 6-year Tatum choking. And now we're talking about a 4-year Ja Morant, who I'm not really sure what the issue is, but I guess he needs to facilitate better for his team. They've been in the league for 4 to 6 years. Like, I'm just confused as to, like, players should be coming in their rookie season and winning chips, like, just right away. Like, it takes time, especially when you're trying to be the leader of a team, to, like, galvanize that. Y'all were fine when they were like, welcome to the dark side, 12, this and that, and all this other kind of stuff. But now all of a sudden, like, it's a problem. So it's like, it's okay to champion Ja and his personality and the type of person that he is, while also having expectations for him that are obtainable, and not just saying, like, he needs to be like playing like a 10-year or a 12-year veteran in the league when he's only on year 4. And since he's been in the league since the very beginning, he's developed more and more every year. Rookie of the year, most improved player, all rookie team, all NBA team. Like, every year he's getting better. So I'm not really sure what we're measuring shit by today. Excuse my language. So sorry. I don't know what we're measuring stuff by today, but everything just seems a little bit like just too outlandish. Like, let these guys get their time. Like, just let them groom, let them grow. But setting such high expectations, even though they're like sort of faces of the league or like new players in the league, they're coming up and stuff like this. Yes, we understand that, but give them time. Especially when you're the leader of a team, it takes time.
Well said. Point to you. Like that. Speaking of persons needing time, the Atlanta Hawks are in perpetual need of needing time. They need time to figure out who they are individually and as a team. Losing to the Indiana Pacers 129-114. And the Indiana Pacers are a team who know who they are. They're a team who's trying to lose, and yet they're winning. Like, how frustrating. I talk to Pacers fans because I live here, and like, they love Tyrese Halliburton, but they're like, God, why did he have to be so good? Because they wanted Victor. Like, they thought they had a chance at Victor. And now they are better once again than the Atlanta Hawks. 18-17, 10-7 at home. 8 and 0 on the road or something like that. Yeah. Atlanta 17-17, 6-11 away. I have no idea what the hell Nate McMillan was doing. I watched this game on a replay after 5 hours expired. I watched it. John Collins, great game, 26-10. Trae Young, he had 22-10, 9 for 10 from the free throw line, 5 for 15 from the floor. DeJounte Murray struggled shooting, 4 for 12, didn't really seem into the game despite playing 35 minutes, which was the most on the Hawks. AJ Griffin, Jalen Johnson over 20 minutes on the bench combined for 17 points. Onyeka Okongwu started for Clint Capella. Didn't work out well for him because the Indiana Pacers, like, they know who they are, and they're going to take those threes, and they're going to make you run after them. Buddy Hield, 28 points, 6 for 7 from deep. Tyrese Halliburton, 23. He had 3 3-pointers. O'Shea Brissett off the bench, 2 for 3 from deep. They shot combined 37%. I don't know. I feel bad for Hawks fans in this sense. In 2 years, we went from the Eastern Conference Finals, deepest team in the league, top 5 player in the league, Trae Young over Luka Doncic, and here we are, ladies and gentlemen, and we are already talking about a Hawks rebuild. We'll go first to Origami. We'll hit up JF. We got Jasmine Santa Rosa, 6 of the 12, Jada Wakandan, Evan Moore up here as well. Next game after this, we're going to be talking about those Raptors who fall to the Los Angeles Clippers, who for some reason, once again, are doing what Clippers do as Kawhi Leonard gets a start in Toronto. We'll get there. JF after Origami. Origami, go ahead.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for having me up. Hope you're doing all right today, as well as everybody, speaker session and listener session. I did want to make a couple of comments here. What you're seeing in Indiana is actual good coaching. Rick Carlisle is an outstanding coach. Been doing it for a long time. Very good offensive coach. And that is what Atlanta is missing. If I may get on my soapbox for a moment. Now, on this platform, I do try to be unbiased. However, there is a little bit of a personal snag that I have with Nate McMillan because he actually played a part in ending my favorite player, Monte Ellis' career. And the reason I say that is because when Monte Ellis came to Indiana, he came off a couple of great seasons with Dallas, put up great numbers, went to the playoffs and everything. Coming into that season, he was pairing up with Paul George. Nate McMillan was going to be, that head coach to put everybody where they need to be. And he did not put Monte Ellis where he needed to be. He put the ball in Paul George's hands and had Monte standing in the corner and spotting up to shoot threes, which is not his game. Monte Ellis needs to be ball in his hands, pick and roll, even distributing if he can. So that messed up his whole career. That was not his game. He just went down from there. So I say all that to say, maybe McMillan does have an issue when there's kind of 2-star perimeter players, like he has with Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. Maybe he's not as skilled as getting the offense like as optimal as he should with those two kind of players that have to be on the wing and need the ball and things of that nature. But I think that the Atlanta Hawks could maybe benefit from a coaching change. There are some coaches out there, maybe even somebody like a Mark Jackson, who could maybe instill even more confidence in Trae Young and some of those other young players on that team, similar to what he did with Golden State, and got them to the level where then, another coach did take on Coach Steve Kerr and got them to win championships and whatnot. But who's to say that maybe Mark Jackson couldn't have done that within a few more years' time? But I'll digress on that point. But I do think that the Atlanta Hawks could benefit from a coaching change. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, you're welcome. I like the Monte Ellis bring up. Although I will say probably playing 40 minutes per game is what really did Monte in. Bro was a bucket, but he was averaging I think he led the league in minutes played a few years.
Not only that, but that moped injury was nasty. He was never the same after that moped injury.
That is true as well. Mark Jackson, I like that. I'll get the poll up, or I'll put the tweet up as a question. Should the Hawks hire Mark Jackson? Yeah, that's going to be dope. We'll go to JFK next. JF, what you got?
Oh, yeah, 2 quick things, Chris. Why do they have the Heat as second projected team to land Trae Young in the trade? And second, I think it's time that we can have that conversation of the top 15 coaches. We can put Rick Carlisle in there instead of Doc Rivers. I think he's earned it. He also got a ring, Chris. I got to check more on the stats, but he's not a bad coach to be in the top 15. And he's doing something with some pretty bad teams, so I can't even lie about that.
Yeah, no, he's in the next round up. I think when it comes down to the coaching record, I believe what it is Doc Rivers has a higher winning percentage, and he has less losing records because he doesn't lose that often. Greatness. All right. Yeah, I feel bad for certain fans. And the Hawks are not one of them. I think anybody who's been watching the Hawks the last couple of years, if you like entertainment and chicanery, I think the Hawks and the Grizzlies are eerily similar, and I think a lot of that has just to do with age and the changing of the era of time in basketball. My question beyond the Mark Jackson question. Is there any way to fix the Hawks in your eyes? Can you save the Hawks' season? If anybody's on the stage got an idea, go ahead.
Yeah, you're gonna have to trade Trae Young. There's a thread of Trae bristling under being held accountable, whether it's Lloyd Pierce or Nate McMillan, that I don't like. And then the other thing is that your choices are Trae Young or John Collins, and the way basketball is played in America, you can always find a guard under 6'5" that wants to let it loose. It's harder to find a John Collins. And when Trae doesn't play, John Collins is a really good big man in this league. And that's, I think, how you fix the Hawks, because it's not necessarily his size. It's not necessarily his necessarily even his shot profile. It's literally he believes he's the best player on the team, but his lack of accountability. It's hard to instill the right culture that you need for winning basketball when your quote unquote best guy isn't accountable to winning basketball. And that's my issue. And I'm consistent with that. That's if you're James Harden, that's if you're whoever. If you're not playing winning basketball, but you're getting a majority of the shots, or you believe you should be getting a majority of the shots, and you're not accountable, it's an issue. It's a problem.
He got the majority of shots last night. Well, second. Trey actually got I think a total of 20 up, but only 15 counted. He had 17. He made 11. He was 3 for 6 from deep, 10 boards, including 2 offensive, 26 points. Nate decided to put the third ball-centric guard that he has, which is Bogdanovic, in the starting lineup last night. And I think what his idea is that it would increase ball movement and open up cleaner and better shots. And I think it has some work. I think it has something to look into about possibly doing to fix the woeful mechanics of what has been the Trey and DeJounte led offense. It might even work if you put a healthy Capella in that lineup as well. The issue then is you get stuck with having Jalen Johnson and AJ Griffin as really the only contributors off the bench. I mean, are y'all buying the Holiday brothers because they haven't done as well this season? Frank Kaminsky, Trent Forrest, I don't know. So if this is going to be the probably penultimate decision that Nate McMillan makes before the inevitable seems to be creeping towards us. Is there anything that can be done? Because, to be honest, I really don't see it working. We'll go to Zach Ramey, host of the Off the Glass podcast, man. You got to check it out. Pure objectivity and straight ball, no nonsense. What's up, Zach?
Good morning, Chris. How's everybody doing?
We good.
Me and Jay had this conversation about Trae Young all the time offline, and to me, I thought their season was going to be interesting when they decided to move on Herter. Herter was a really good piece for them. He just did so many different things. And people are going to point to Trae's shooting numbers, true shooting percentage, splits, all that stuff. And there's some validity in that. But you got to kind of watch a decent amount of Hawks games and watch how he's playing the point guard position when they're healthy to really kind of understand what Jay was saying if you're somebody that kind of disagrees, because it's just certain times in the game as a point guard where he's just focused on really getting his, and it will behoove them to kind of just move that ball around. So to me, they're kind of already in a terrible trajectory, Chris, because they decided to move pieces, mainly Herter. They punted on Reddish, and now I'm kind of looking at Reddish kind of skeptically now because this is 2 different teams, 3 different coaches. So at some point, there has to be some truth in the middle. But I would look to Trae Young. Trae Young sounds like he wants out anyway. But even if he moves and goes somewhere else, he's going to have an honest conversation with himself of what type of career does he want to have. Is he a guy that's going to be a star in this league, an all-star, fringe, all-NBA most years, stat guy, or is he a guy that wants to win championships? Because, Chris, I've been consistent with this. Nowhere in the history of the NBA has a guy of his stature been the predominantly scorer as a volume scorer and you win a championship. He's not better than the great Isaiah Thomas, and Isaiah Thomas had to scale back his offense for those bad boys teams to ultimately be what they were supposed to be. So whether he is in Atlanta or out in wherever next year, he's going to have to make that choice, Chris, going forward, because that's what it's ultimately going to come down to.
I like that. And you're right. You're 100% right about Isaiah Thomas having to scale back his offense. Like,
And that's
yeah,
why I laugh at people when they talk about Zeke. Zeke was literally a 25-10 guy at his apex. And the only reason he doesn't have more All-NBAs because there was only 2 teams during most of his career. If there would have had a third team, he would have more All-NBAs on his list. But I don't even know if it's a Nate McMillan issue this year. And they've had injuries, no question. But again, at the end of the day, Trae Young, and if you go at the history of Trae Young, Oklahoma, same thing. High school career, same thing. But this is the NBA. And you're going to have to learn how to play team ball at a certain level as a superstar if you want to win championships.
yeah, no, I agree. I don't know if it's so much that he wants out versus he just wants new management. Like, but I mean, he's pretty much had the lay of the land since he's gotten there. We'll go to Professor J. He wants to say good morning to everybody. He also wants to say his Boston Celtics won. He also wants to say that it is disrespectful having to be asked whether you're going to take Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Professor J, go ahead. Good morning.
You covered everything, I guess. But no, just playing. No, I wanted to touch on the. I wanted to touch on the Trae Young thing. He also has a lot of ego, and that doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't play collective. It's all about him, and that's the other problem, in my opinion.
All right, appreciate it. Origami, go ahead, and Jada Wakanda.
Yeah, I had a question. I was wondering if Trae Young would benefit more from being on a small market team or a large market team. Reason being because of maybe the media coverage. If he's more scrutinized by the media and whatnot, I wonder if he would adjust his game maybe more or his mentality more compared to a smaller market where maybe they don't really touch on that too much because maybe they're a little afraid to. But I just want to get y'all's thoughts on that, like if he may benefit or not benefit from being in a bigger market.
That's a good question. I think he would benefit from shooting 18 shots per game, not 21. But that's just me. Force him to be more efficient as opposed to be leaning on volume. That's just my thoughts. We'll go to Zach for a quick answer, then we'll head over to Jay. If anybody else up on stage wants to answer, just go ahead, raise your hand so I know that you're ready to go. Go ahead, Zach.
I mean, extra scrutiny wouldn't hurt, but I still think it comes back to the mentality. And again, let's be clear. Superstars, your best players do run your team, especially being a focal point on offense. But as the point guard, he can sacrifice a few shots, or at least when he's taking them. And you have to have a certain pulse as a point guard. You have to know who has it going early, who's been struggling the last few games. Has this guy got a touch the last 3 possessions? You have to kind of macro manage and do all that. And for some guys, it's a lot easier said than done. So it might work, but I still think it's the mentality at the end of the day.
All right. Jay, go ahead.
Yeah. This is another conversation me and Zach have all the time is that just because a guy has the ball in his hands and he's the smallest guy on the floor doesn't make him a point guard. Trae Young is a 2 with playmaking abilities. And so the natural game management thing that Zach is talking about that a point guard has, Trae doesn't have. Trae is more like a Russell Westbrook type, where it's a 2 guard with the ball, and the playmaking that Trae does is because the shot isn't there or the shot is so insanely difficult that it's just better to pass. And when teams take on the personality of that type of player, you get stagnation. You get players that when they get the ball, they're going to go for theirs, even though it's a horrible basketball play, i.e. the Houston Rockets with Jabari Smith. Versus the Nuggets, where Jokic is their best player. Jokic loves making the extra pass. And then by osmosis, the Nuggets as a team love making the extra pass, right? Because they know they're going to get it back. And with Trae would have to play with a player who would literally take the ball out of his hands and give him a role. Say, listen, you're going to be on the floor, but we need you to take 4 shots, 6 shots this quarter. That's it. After that, we need you to play make, and it can't be 6 shots in a row, and then you're just swinging the ball lackadaisical because you're no longer interested because you know you're not shooting. And at his salary and his personality, I don't know if there's a move to be made. Like, okay, so for example, like if you put him on the Magic, yeah, the Magic have the length to put a defense around Trey, but then what does that do for Paolo's development? What does that do for Franz Wagner's development? What does that do for Bol Bol's development? You see what I'm saying? So there are quote unquote logistical and roster fits where they have enough length on the roster to make up for Trey's defensive lack, but it's the personality and play style that's the issue.
All right, I see that. I also see that much like James Harden views Dwayne Wade and his 3 championships as a barometer for success, I think Trae Young uses, James Harden 2018 season where he averaged 36. By the way, I think that's the only year he shot like super numbers. Like he was like at 25 shots per game, right? To average 36. And I think Trae and James Harden are both cut more from that cloth than the others. And as you see, James Harden in his latter years, that's where I want to see Trae. Like if he wants to be ball dominant and he wants to pound the rock, cool. But at least gets the shots down to 15, 16 per game, and raise your efficiency up a little bit where you're shooting 35% from 3. But then you gotta, without having that third wheel, which is why I think Nate put Bogdanovich up there. You've got to be able to get AJ Griffin the shots exactly where he needs it, DeAndre Hunter the shots, and yes, John Collins the shots. And he just, I don't think, wants to all the time. I think he sees a matchup and he wants to take it. That's how I see it. We'll go to Jasmine. We'll go back to Origami. We've got Ro Knows as well. We'll get his thoughts, and then we're going to move on to clips and raps. With the big question is, Raptors fans, is this for you? Are you starting to just discount the year? Because it was getting ugly in Raptors Twitter last night. Jasmine, go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick to Origami. Are you saying the basketball market of Atlanta? Because Atlanta as a sports market is pretty big. So I'm trying to figure out where else that he would go that's a quote unquote big market outside of maybe New York and LA. Unless I'm misinterpreting your question wrong.
Yeah, I was speaking in reference to basketball.
Gotcha.
Any thoughts? Or you want me to come back?
Oh, sorry. I don't really think adding him to a New York or LA is gonna the criticism would change. I feel like Atlanta is probably the best market for him, but the team construction and the coach isn't necessarily what it needs. He can definitely stand criticism, so I don't feel like moving him from Atlanta would be a solution. If anything, he needs to stay in Atlanta and just build upon what he's already put there. But running away from it doesn't solve anything. It's just gonna make it look worse than it already does.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really think there's a better market. And besides, but through his actions, it's New York and our bust, right? Yeah. I market doesn't matter any longer. If you a star, you a star. You're gonna get your money. You're gonna get your endorsements, and he's done well. I think if he played in Minnesota, he'd do well. Ro, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm well. Better than your Hawks, man. What's up?
Yeah, 2 things. Someone, I don't know who it was, someone on here said that he sounds like he wants to leave. I just want to know where that came from. A lot of people are saying that right now. He's never said that. His father even came out, said that he's trying to win a championship for Atlanta. He said that many times. I just want to know where that came from, for one.
I think it really is more of the speculative nature from Bleacher Report and some of the other online rumor mills.
Yeah, they do a lot of clickbaiting. So if people just wouldn't listen to clickbait, I'd rather hear it from his pops is pretty much his mouthpiece. He says everything. Like when Lloyd Pierce was on his way out, they was dissing Lloyd Pierce. I mean, you can get everything from his dad. His dad is basically Kawhi's uncle in this situation.
Yeah.
So if his dad comes out and says it, I'm not really worried about anybody else's opinion, especially rival execs. It just doesn't carry any weight. Another thing is Nate McMillan. It's a lot of players that came out that said he's very old school. Used to have guys wearing suits on the bus, no texting on their phones on the bus, things like that. He loses a lot of locker rooms. Nate is a big problem for this team. It's not just a Trey thing. Trey can be immature at times. He's got a lot of growing up to do, but it's mostly Nate. And I'll tell you a lot of things that a lot of people don't know. When we went on that 2021 run, we weren't running Nate's playbook at all. It was Pierce's. Yeah, it was Lloyd Pierce's playbook, but just a lot of it was just more free because you can't just change up a playbook in the middle of the season like that. So he started to win more games because it wasn't his playbook, and that was his. I think that was his first time getting out of the first round. Am I right or wrong?
You are. I think he got to the second round once in Indiana.
Okay,
I'll check.
Once in Indiana. Out of all the teams you've had, he was in Portland, never got out of the first round. Got out with Paul George once. It's mostly Nate. I feel like. And people are going to call Trey a coach killer because he went through Lloyd Pierce and then he went to Nate. Lloyd Pierce is a bad coach. It's the reason why he's not a coach now. I think he's coming up for a job soon. Nate was on the bench for a reason. I just think we need a younger, more like a Kenny Atkinson or just a more diverse coach that just kind of maximizes his players, basically. That's all I got to say.
All right, great takes. He's been out the first round twice, once with the Pacers prior to the ECF run, once with the Pacers with Paul George, and once the last year, 2005, Seattle Supersonics.
Okay, I was wrong then.
See, hey, look at that. Thank you for just saying that, because apparently a lot of people, they are either allergic to the word wrong or have the inability to just say I was wrong.
Nah, I'm not like that, man. I'm a good fan.
Appreciate that. Most definitely. I agree. And I parroted that point. I actually picked Atlanta to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. And people are like, why? It's like they're scoring at an insane clip. Nobody in the East can stop them if they're healthy, schematically. They just don't match up well. And Nate McMillan does something that Lloyd Pierce can never do. Which is connect with the players and allow them to best maximize their ability individually. And Lloyd Pierce is a good X's and O's guy. And what you saw on that run was exactly what Rose says. Lloyd Pierce's offense ran through, dare I say, almost Doc Rivers level of greatness. Love it. Zach put his hand up. we'll go Zach, Jay, and then close it with Origami.
Hey, real quick, Chris, but you did say when they switched over, don't be fooled by Nate McMillan.
Yes.
And I agree with you, and people were laughing at us and a couple other people, but this is an example of why one person can't be the scapegoat, right? Because Nate isn't responsible for the shot selection, but Nate is also responsible for the culture, the environment, and how he runs his team. And this is why certain head coaches in the NBA, in my opinion, don't do well. It's all about getting guys to buy into your message. And then if you're an X's and O's guy, you have that. Or you surround yourself with people that do X's and O's well. Like Lloyd Pierce might not be a great head coach. Time will tell if he gets another shot. But he might be a fabulous X's and O's type coach. So Atlanta has some serious questions to do answering. I'm curious to see what kind of blame is going to come out on the front office because their GM, basketball operations guy, I forget which one he is now, but remember, he was the toast of the town for a while now. So a lot of this falls at his feet because they were making these moves and constructing a roster like this. So we got to see.
That's Travis Schlenk.
Right. I couldn't remember his name. Travis Schlenk. Yep.
I also told them as well to stop. Bro ain't it. Never was. It's lightning in a bottle. It's hard to win in the NBA. And it's that much harder to win in the NBA playoffs that like most teams need a lightning in the bottle spark to carry them through. It's grueling. Like, even if you're only getting 67 out of the 82 games, you're worn down. And then, like, now you're playing the same dudes at least 4 times. Usually it's 6. Maybe you're lucky at 5. And by the time you get to the finals and you play 24 physical games, it's hard to win.
You're literally talking possessions at this point, Chris. Like, literally separating the face of franchises. You're literally talking about possessions, because they were almost at the finals just 2 years ago. So it's amazing, like, the margin of error in the NBA sometimes, especially at the top.
And like, one decision made Travis Schlenk go from, oh my God, look what he built in Atlanta, to he's no longer as important and he is being, scapegoated. Although he's made some questionable calls and draft picks and some other stuff. Jay, hop in here. We'll get Rose some time to close out with Origami. Then we're going to move on to the Toronto Raptors, because it's getting ugly quickly, in a hurry.
Oh, I got you. Be careful how you talk about Lloyd Pierce, because I do remember people talking about Jacques Vaughn the same way after that disastrous stint with the Magic. So, but I hear you. If you're saying that Lloyd Pierce needs a David Fizdale on this staff to balance things out, I'm with it.
Oh, by the way, Lloyd Pierce will be the next coach of the Indiana Pacers. Just letting you know now. I'm letting you know. And like, we're gonna have this discussion when Indiana might be better than Atlanta with Trae Young. We're gonna have a discussion between Tyrese Halliburton and Trae Young, who's better. I already know who I'm picking. If you don't know by now, you don't listen to the show, and you should then head over to the YouTube. Head over to Hoops Faces YouTube. Catch all of this season's shows in its entirety, unedited, so you can get context over on YouTube, powered by audiolabs.io. I'm going to play this button so I can do the last read of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank our sponsors. That's right. We have a sponsor the entire season. They reached out a hand through the hard work of the pickup card game, and I'm talking about slamgoods.com. Head over to slamgoods.com and check out the pickup card game, and you will win like the love and affection of the basketball fan in your life, because the game is perfect. You can play it in 2 minutes. You can play it in 30 minutes while you're watching the game on TV. Have a family moment. Bring your kid into the world of basketball. Phenomenally made with love and a passion. So check out the pickup card game over at slamgoods.com. And by the way, if you use promo code that I keep telling you about, Hoop Spaces, it's the name of what's on the Avi, the show. You see it every day. We talk about it every day. You save 15% every day on your entire purchase when you go over to slamgoods.com. Use promo code HoopSpaces. Yeah. I'll give myself a B+ on that one. Still in the room above the garage, so it's kind of cold. So I feel like I sound muffled. We'll close this out with the two Atlanta fans. We will go to Roe first. We'll close it out with Origami. We got Santa Rosa up here as the Clippers put one on the Raptors. It's getting ugly for Fred VanVleet. Go ahead, Ro. What you got?
Origami can go first.
All right, Origami, go ahead and give yourself 60 seconds and give us your final Hawks point.
Okay, yeah, I did want to speak about Trae Young. I mean, I was going to ask, do you guys think that, until he can kind of become a little bit different, should NBA fans call him Rayford?
No.
No. He's not in his, his Stephon mode, if you will. He's maybe being a little Urkel-ish.
He's fine.
Okay.
He's doing what he does, and he does it very well, as my friend Sam would say.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to be a little disrespectful right there about this playing, all in good fun. But I did want to put out another coach there that might could help Atlanta. It's really interesting, though, because when I was thinking about it, this particular team kind of has two juggernaut coaches in both realms, like offense and defense. That's probably why they're doing so well right now. But last name Gentry, first name Alvin. I think that might could solve some of their offensive woes potentially.
Nah, not buying it. Zach's with me. At least I know I'm not alone. Point to you, Origami. Ro, give yourself 60 seconds, close out on the Hawks.
All right, in closing, as far as coaches, I'll take Mr. Nasty Time. He may have doped if they let him go. I'll take him. I think we'll be all right, really. It's just, it's still, we're almost halfway into the season. We got about 8 or 9 players that are brand new to the team. Still got to work things out with schemes and all that. So I think we'll be fine. I'm still banking on a 5th or 6th seed. And that's it.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Make sure you keep dropping by so we can get some more voices heard from Hawks fans.
Will do. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Clippers and Raptors, 124-113. Pascal Siakam can hoop. We know this. OG can hoop. Although kind of had a weird game last night. Only 18. He played team high 44 minutes. Only took 9 shots. He had 6 free throw attempts, but like there's definitely some type of rigidity in the offense, and I think it's because that rigidity revolves around Fred VanVleet, who I'll say I think he just isn't healthy, and it's not an injury type issue; it's an attrition issue. Zach can speak to this. So if you are a player. It is hard. It is rough. Bro's been leading the league in minutes played. He's 5'10". He's at a premium position. And it could be like we're looking at like wear and tear in real time. We have Santa Rosa up here. We'll go to her first. We'll let Zach follow. Santa Rosa, thank you for coming on up. If you are also another Raptors fan down below and you want to come on up and give us your thoughts on what you saw last night, what I saw was, again, Pascal Siakam, OG, and Scotty looking good. But, man, Fred just doesn't look right. Santa, go ahead.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm well. I had a waffle this morning. I'm team say no to pancakes. Loose floppy bread is bad for you. And I think that's what y'all had for breakfast and pregame. What's up?
Yeah, last night was, I don't know. I just felt like we weren't going to win that game for some reason. I don't know why. But I'm glad that Pascal, Scotty, and OG had like really good game. OG was a bit wonky in the paint, and he was like missing his layups. Usually like shots that he would usually make, he was just missing them. Scotty, another good game. He grabbed like I think 7 rebounds by the end of the first quarter, and ended the game with a double, 17 points, I think it was, and I think 10 rebounds, I think it was. And I don't know, I just think this year for the Raptors, it's like a dud of a season. I don't think they're really gonna like do any major thing. I never thought they were gonna win the finals this year. I always thought this year was gonna be another development year, especially for Scotty. We're still like a youngish team and everything. But so it's like a piece of me is like, do we tank and try to get like the highest pick we can get, or do we just try to like get these wins and and try to make the postseason? And I think like right now it's the Raptors have like that's like their main issue, and who to trade for to get what we want, which is like a center and another shooter. And I don't know, I just think that Fred doesn't fit into the Raptors timeline of like what the Masai envisions the Raptors to be. I think that they should really try to build around Scottie, Pascal, and OG, and everybody else is like up on the trade block. Put it that way. So I think that's my question to you, Chris, is like, do you think the Raptors should tank from now or just try to see if they can make it to the postseason? And yeah, I don't think they're gonna make it. Even if they do make it to the postseason, last thing, I just don't think they're gonna make it out the first round. You know, I just don't think they're that good enough unless like they address, you know, the center issue. And with that, I'm like hoping for Jakob to come back and like fill that void, or Miles Turner, but that's really it.
I mean, I don't think they can tank hard enough. So like, you're stuck in purgatory. Chicago is not better than you, and they're right behind you. Washington is not better than you. They're right behind you. Orlando could be really good, but they're really young. So like, it's like you guys are stuck. Yeah, I don't even think you could tank. We'll go to Zach, then Jay. Zach, what are your thoughts, man?
I was gonna say the same thing. If you had the No Man's Land music, that's where they are right now until Scottie kind of he needs another year, because I think this would be his senior year now if he was still in college. So he still needs another year. And what you guys would want to trade for to upgrade the roster, everybody wants what you're not letting go, which is either Scottie, OG, or Pascal. Fred VanVleet, I'll just say this. It's really tough in the NBA for smaller guards. It just is, from the standpoint. You can almost argue they're your most skilled player, especially if they're really good on offense, because the amount of space they have to create on shots, the step backs, we saw the step back and did to Kemba Walker's knee, the amount of tough shots they have to make, and it's just a lot put on him. He is an older player. I know Pascal is well, but he's just taller. I just think the Raptors you're in a better place than you probably realize, even though it's tough to say as a fan because everybody wants to win championships. But you're not in a place where you should be even considering tanking. It should be all about the development of Scottie Barnes, because if he goes and becomes what a lot of us think he can become, then 2 years from now, you'll be like, man, okay, Pascal's really good still. Look at Scottie and maybe OG, and then you got one more piece. But I just think you guys are kind of stuck this year. You're going to probably make the playoffs because, like Chris said, the Bulls are a disaster. Washington doesn't have a point guard. So it's just one of those things where you're a great Masai's built you guys into a really good franchise, but you're having one of those moments where you might not get a chip this year, but you're in a good place compared to other franchises.
And a lot of people, to take a point further that Zach just made, a lot of people will not understand this because they just don't pay attention to as much basketball. Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet are both 28 years old. Pascal Siakam has been playing basketball for only 15 years of his life. Fred VanVleet has been playing basketball for 25 years.
Right. Yeah, younger than, probably older than that, because I'm going to tell my age, Chris. When me and Daniel Artest played professionally in Rockford, he was at our campus like a 6-year-old. So, yeah, he's been playing basketball forever. And that kind of stuff matters. The wear and tear, all the miles add up, bro. They really do.
And just to let everybody know, he was not at morning practice this morning. Looks like he will probably miss time because of his back. We'll go ahead, Rosa.
Oh, was that about Fred?
Yeah, it just came out about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Jada Wakanda and Origami.
First of all, don't feel bad for Santa. She's a Man City fan. They've won everything except for the Champions League. That's first of all. Second of all, the Raptors can tank.
Bro, they cannot tank.
They can. A Brandon Clark, Danny Green, Jaren Jackson Jr. trade for OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam.
That's not tanking. That's franchise suicide, bro.
Tomato.
Jay always wants that
Um,
trade, and I always tell him no. Plain and simple.
that's my run. Yeah, it's my running joke with Santi. He's good people. But no, seriously, the Raptors ran into an injury buzzsaw, and the way they want to play, they really do need all their pieces to make Vision 6-9 work. Otto Porter hasn't played, period. And that was supposed to be a 6'8" guy, utility knife off the bench. Gary Trent has missed some time. Chris Boucher has missed some time.
There's no Precious Achua.
Yeah, Precious Achua. And
We
so
are not doing this. We are
no,
not gonna be here with a straight face saying Precious Achua is
no,
responsible for
No,
this.
I just think
Chris,
that
check it out.
like
Precious
defensively,
Achua is their
like
second.
as an
Yeah, Precious
anchor
Achua is their.
on the bench, when he comes off the bench and into the game, like he could be that spark, like kind of like a Chris Boucher. So I think a lot of those games where we needed that defensive help, Raptors tend to lose leads. Precious would come in and be that guy to whether you put him on like a 4 or a 5, he could help in that way.
All right.
And not only that, but Precious Achua is also their second best rebounding person on that squad, and the Raptors are horrendous at defensive rebounding. And so it doesn't matter what kind of defense you're playing if you're not able to secure the defensive
Look,
rebound.
all I know is before he was hurt, he was shooting 39 from the floor and 12 from deep. And he's a power forward playing center.
It's not about his shooting, it's about the Raptors being literally the worst defensive rebounding team in the league. Even the Spurs, no shot at Evan Townsend, are better at defensive rebounding.
By the way, that's another reason why they can't tank.
What, because they can't defensive rebound?
No, like they're not going to be able to tank because the moment they put these effort guys in, the effort's going to carry them to like 500.
Listen, I'm pretty sure if you give Bo Cruz 35 minutes a night, you can tank.
Bo Cruz, sure. 9 minutes, 5 shots.
Horrible.
But if you put Bo Cruz in as the starting 5 and play him 35 minutes a night, I'm pretty sure I can drive this tank.
Actually, Aaron Baines helped us to tank to get Scotty Barnes, so it could happen.
Yeah, but like you had Fred out, you had Pascal out, OG was out. Yeah, and you were in Tampa. Like, come on. All right, look, I feel bad for some Raptors fans. Others, I don't, because I don't think Otto Porter Jr. back is going to help that much. I think they had a ceiling. They hit their ceiling, and until Scotty Barnes takes the next level consistently, they are who they are.
What do you think? Last thing is what do you think we could get for Jakob? Like, in order to trade for him.
You would have to give up Koloko in the first.
Really? Like, can we just give up Cambridge?
No.
Flynn or somebody?
No. Adam, Santi, keep pushing. Kimberly, 2 picks on the squad. Let's make this happen. Like this no.
It doesn't. It like I put this tweet out, right? Like people in the trade machines are driving me crazy because like they never take into effect that the other side's got to say yes.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the first trade with San Antonio and the Raptors.
The issue is San Antonio has steadfastly said 2 first-round picks, which means you can only talk them down to 1, which means they want a player and a pick. They ain't taking Malachi Flynn. They have 4 young guards. They're not going to take back Gary Trent Jr. unless they know for a fact they can trade him for another pick, and you just don't. You're not going to give up OG. You're not going to give up Scotty. They don't want Fred VanVleet. I like Delano, but that's not going to count as a first.
Y'all forgetting about the 3 picks Memphis is going to send when we trade for OG. Like,
Oh, jeez.
you got to factor that in.
No,
You
we
know what I'm
don't. No, we don't.
Oh, and the
Origami.
last thing, the best player from the 2016 draft is Pascal Siakam.
All right.
Yeah.
I won't argue. I'll give you the positive note here. Pascal Siakam, best player 2016. Your choice between Pascal Siakam, Jaylen Brown, Domantas Sabonis. I'll let y'all choose. Origami, real quick, go 30 seconds. Next game's up. We got to do real quickly because we only got 10 minutes before we head on out of here. Go ahead.
Sure. Just had a question. I'm looking kind of some of the stats here. I haven't seen that much of Toronto this year, but I'm looking at some of the 3-point percentages, and they're not looking that great. So I was wondering if they did want to stick with VanVleet out there, could they maybe? I'm looking at Scotty Barnes here. I know he's beloved there, but could they maybe trade him for a more efficient 3-point shooter to maybe help space the ball a little bit more?
If they weren't going to trade him for Kevin Durant, they are not trading him.
Well, fair enough.
I mean, he's Magic Johnson.
We would
You ain't been
rather
in
trade
Raptor
for
spaces?
VanVleet.
He is not Magic Johnson.
Have you been in Raptor spaces? He was
He is
Magic Johnson
not
last
Magic
year.
Johnson.
Last year, Raptor spaces, they told me.
Oh, I
People
know.
of Toronto told me that.
I
Scotty Barnes
know.
was Magic Johnson.
Scotty is him. Like, if he's in the show, he can come up and he can defend his statement. But I unequivocally said then that he is not Magic Johnson. Like, how good was Magic Johnson? Bro would average 25 assists in today's
But Chris,
NBA.
you know that comes from.
I mean, he won Final MVP.
But
as
that
a
comes
rookie.
from his coach at Florida State describing the first time he saw him in practice, and people just ran with it and took it too far. That's literally all that came from, man.
Yeah.
Like, people are hilarious.
Like, Scotty Barnes is 6'8"ish, 230. Okay? Right? Like, that's about his measurables. Magic walked in 6'9". Like, Magic shrunk because, like, he had horrible posture. But he walked in 6'9" and gave them 18, 7, and 7. In a league where everybody was punching him in the mouth because he was a cocky, know-it-all trash talker. Like,
sounds like a dude in Memphis.
Except that no. You're right. Like, no, we're not doing this. It's nasty work, Jay. Good point for you. All right, 3 games. 3 games to go. We're going to go through them real quick because we're running out of time. Warriors 110, Hornets 105. Takeaways from this game. LaMelo Ball likes to shoot a lot. There you go. Like, I don't. Since he's been back, that the offense has to now recalibrate away from a 2-man game of Terry Rozier and Kelly Oubre Jr. To a heliocentric LaMelo Ball pounds the rock and shoots and passes. It would help if, maybe more teammates made more shots. We can always make that argument. But then if you're taking 92 shots as a team, one would think that you don't want to exceed over 25% of a team shot in a singular play. Just throwing that out there. Conversely, on that Warrior squad, Jordan Poole started in place of the injured Curry. He had 24 and 6. Could have shot better. Klay Thompson had 22 shots. He had 29 points. Warriors are still hovering around 500. If they're able to do this and Steph comes back and they win 8 games, yeah, they'll be talking. Nuggets and Kings. Kings do not light the beam. The Kings are in trouble. And we are going to find out exactly how much Domantas Sabonis is worth, as he now has an injury that he cannot. Yeah, that he cannot have surgery and fix and play, nor can he take off time and play because Sacramento loses games like this, 113-106. Alex Len gets the start. And then they realized that he was Alex Len, so they put in Rashawn Holmes. and look, I did my Terp dirty. I know I did, but damn. Like, Trey Lyles, shout out to Trey Lyles. Still collecting them checks. Underrated player. Would love to see him on the Sixers. There you go. Davion Mitchell. Yo, I've said this. People don't like this. He just cannot play in Sacramento. Okay? Like, I don't know how many more games you need. He cannot play in Sacramento. And people are like, why? He's like, because you got this dude named De'Aaron Fox.
I never understood the hype about him coming out of the draft. I never understood.
Oh, bro's Marcus Smart level defender.
Yeah.
Well, that was the hype.
I ain't seen much in college, but yeah.
That was the hype.
He was nice in college. It's the wrong franchise with a lot of these guys. He's an example of the wrong franchise. I watched that Baylor team. He was tough, man. He was tough on defense.
By the way,
I really didn't see it though.
By the way, if I'm the Dallas Mavericks, I am calling Sacramento and offering a first-round pick for Davion Mitchell. Just saying. TJ, you popped up. What you got?
Well, first off, good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
If you guys haven't, I know the show's almost ended, but just go ahead and retweet the show card. That's the first thing I do when I come in. I always say good morning, and then you can enjoy the rest of the show. But as far as like the Warriors, I just came up here for a quick 30 seconds. Shout out to Jonathan Kuminga. There's a lot of people that I kind of roll with in spaces, and they've been talking very negatively about him. I just want to put that out there. Great game by JP. Yeah, he could have shot the ball better. I was impressed with Clay. Clay looked pretty nice. But yeah, it's the Hornets. I'm so glad that we got 2 in a row. One more tonight, and that's a winning streak. So shout out to the Warriors. That's all I really got, man. Thanks.
All right. Tell you now, let the Warriors hang around 500 and get to the playoffs healthy. It's going to be some nasty work, man.
I mean, that's all we're waiting on anyway. So it was going to happen eventually.
Rockets and Celtics in the perfect game that highlights what I said yesterday about Alperen Sengun. When you play against a smarter, headier player or more athletic player, he struggles. And he struggled last night. In fact, he almost won the Tony Snell Award last night, but he did pull down 9 boards, so he got spared. In 22 minutes, Jabari Smith, 10 shots, 6 points, 9 boards, 2 assists. I swear if they cannot give him 16 shots. He has the highest ceiling on that team. I don't care if your name is Jalen Green and you hit it. It's like.
So you say if Orlando, he's a better prospect than he is now.
I'm saying on the Houston Rockets, like if I am projecting out 6 years, I see Jabari Smith Jr. As a 22, 10, 5 with a couple of blocks type dude making 4 out of 7 3-pointers.
7.
Yeah, he'll average 7 threes a game. He'll probably make like 3.2. So he'll shoot like 39.9 to 41%. 6 years out.
Maybe 37, but I got you.
All right. That's my take. Appreciate Anthony's take. And if you have a take, make sure you raise the hands. Although I'm not lying, we got 2 minutes left, so you probably missed out today. We'll go Zach then Jay so he can get his free Jabari Smith propaganda on. We'll go over the games quickly tonight, and then we'll get out of here. Go ahead, Zach.
As we say in Chicago, free the guys. Please free Jabari Smith. I charted 2 games in a row in the first quarter. He literally stood in both corners on the offensive end, a total of like 10 to 12 possessions. They never got to the second option. So you don't even get to see him do the dribble handoff. It's one of the most disgusting things, and I hope it doesn't end up ruining his career because this has been one hell of a start to a rookie season for a promising prospect.
I agree 100%. And somebody asked, why didn't we talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder and San Antonio Spurs game? Exactly. Jay, go ahead.
Well, first of all, it's nasty work by the Spurs to get out-rebounded by the Thunder, who don't have a legitimate big man whose best rebounder is Josh Giddey. That's nasty work. But no, I put the tweet in the Jumbotron. The Rockets fan, his big 3 doesn't even include Jabari Smith. So I don't understand why it's nasty work on my part to trade for the 4th option on the Rockets with a package of Danny Green, and like 2 picks, 2 swaps. Like, I think that works. I don't understand why I'm the bad guy for wanting the 4th option on a tanking lottery team.
Because you
And
acting
Jabari
like he the
Smith,
4th option,
he is the 4th option.
like that
Jalen Green.
quantifies anything. It's such a straw man.
But Chris, he is. You know, I have no dog in this fight. If you watch them play, if somebody dropped you on earth and watched the Rockets.
No, I get it, Zach, but like, it's a straw man.
Jr. gets more shots than him some nights, bro.
He's a rookie. He's a rookie.
I tell you what. I'll even throw in. I tell you what. Let's make. Would you prefer Jaren Jackson Jr. and Danny Green, and then we take the Eric Gordon contract and Jabari Smith? But now I'm only doing 2 picks on the swap.
Like I can deal with that. That is like, listen to what I just said. I dinged. I can dig that. That's how high I think of Jabari. Like, y'all are slandering this kid in my eyes. Like, I feel so bad.
I'm not slandering. I just want the Houston Rockets to do right by Jabari and trade him to a place where he's going to be loved, appreciated, and developed better. Because Taylor Jenkins is a top 5 developmental coach in the NBA.
People are like wondering like what my issue is. Like, I watch an insane amount of basketball. Okay? A byproduct of PTSD and actual love for the game of basketball. And when I get on this soapbox, and like players I've gotten on soapboxes for, DeJounte Murray, right? Like Jordan Poole, Tyler Hero. Like, I don't get these wrong that often. Jabari Smith has the highest ceiling on that Houston Rockets team. Like, you can't teach size and athleticism and a natural shooting stroke.
More importantly than that, Chris, than everything you just said, Chris, the kid loves, and I do mean he loves playing defense.
Yes. He loves playing the game, not just scoring. He goes for rebounds. He'll guard a point guard. You've seen him in a Rockets game when you know he's engaged because his ass is almost on the floor. Flaying out a 7-foot wingspan, daring a shooting guard to go at him. And you know what they do already as a rookie? They just shoot. Like, nah, I'm good. Come get this.
Absolutely. And which is why the Rockets need the veteran leadership of Danny Green and 4 picks to really flesh out that roster.
Danny Green.
The salaries match because Jabari Smith is on a rookie contract, and you get 4 picks for the 4th option on the Rockets.
Like Anthony, this is what he do. This is what he does. Let him roll with it. What they really need to do is figure out who they want. Do they want Kevin Porter Jr. or do you want Jalen Green? Figure that out. Put them next to Jabari and then move the hell out the way. That's it.
Put Jabari next to Steven Adams and John.
No, Sengun is perfect.
He's not.
Well, he's not, but he's still really good.
He is really good. Really good. I think Sengun would be amazing on the Wizards. That way KP can play his natural position.
Well, I'll tell you this: if we're gonna go ahead and play this free Jabari Smith game, I've got one for you. I'll take Kevin Porter Jr. and Jabari Smith. Houston can get Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey.
Y'all don't have the picks.
What
picks?
No picks. Straight up.
No picks. At least I'm giving 3 picks.
Straight up.
You giving up Maxey like that?
Straight up.
Absolutely not.
You said Kevin Porter, Smith, Maxey, and Harris.
Porter Smith Jr. and Smith, Tobias Harris and Maxey.
I wish Bad Guy was in here. wasted
shout
ball
out
by
to Bleacher Mob Radio. It's not the Thunder, it's the Spurs. Like it's the Spurs. Okay, I'm not gonna sit up here and spend 5 minutes of why I had to watch 26 minutes of Jason Richardson. Okay, like there's a line I draw sometimes, and like what I saw was not real cool basketball, man. Like it wasn't.
Gotta be fair to all your NBA teams, man. Gotta be fair.
I am being fair. I'm being totally fair. You know what it's like watching Zach Collins and Stanley Johnson play together?
Shout out to Stanley Johnson. God,
Shout out to Stanley Johnson.
a fall from grace. A fall from grace.
Stanley Johnson would literally be the second best perimeter defender on the Grizzlies right now.
I want Stanley Johnson. You know what he does better? He does everything better than one PJ Tucker. 19 minutes, 0 points, 2 boards.
But
PJ
30
Tucker.
guaranteed M's.
It's some nice ass sneakers too.
And some nice ass sneakers.
Yeah.
Woe is my existence as a Sixers fan. Origami, 30 seconds, go.
Yes, I did just kind of want to explain why the Spurs got rebounded. I mean, it's because they don't have Wembanyama yet. I mean, once they get him, he will solve all of their rebounding woes and more. Simple math.
I'm not so sold on San Antonio winning this lotto. That's parity in the NBA, ladies and gentlemen.
I ain't gonna lie. Adam Silver should definitely redo the frozen envelope trick and put Wembanyama in the Eastern Conference, just as a Grizzly fan, objectively. Like, I'm cool with Wembanyama because he's, going to Toronto, and maybe his Frenchness can, mend the Montreal-Toronto rivalry. You know what I'm saying?
They
World
won't.
peace.
It
You know what I'm
won't.
saying? I just don't want Wemby in the Western Conference. That's all.
I'm like, it's already cooked, y'all. It's in the oven, and the New Orleans Pelicans are going to end up getting Victor Wembanyama. Thank you, Lakers.
That would be so insane if that happens. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, I just that would be the best. That would be the best. That would be the best storyline if that happened. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have basketball tonight. That's right. It happens almost every night, and I watch the majority of these games by the time we wake up. The Hoops Faces review will be kicking off after the New Year's holiday. Substack is different. Review was pretty user intuitive, a lot easier to format. So I'm like, yay, more work. Wednesday tonight, Orlando, Detroit. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. Phoenix, Washington. Yeah. Both games are 7. Washington looks to make it 2 in a row. Phoenix is still not going anywhere. Brooklyn at Atlanta, 7:30. No lie, I think we are on Nate McMillan watch. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose badly. We could see some movement by this weekend. Los Angeles and Miami on NBA TV. This is a game Miami needs to win because if they lose, they will lose it. But if they do win, it won't solve anything. So it's really purgatory as well for Miami as they are trying to figure out what they need to do to be able to compete with the top echelon of the East. Los Angeles is just they go as LeBron goes, and even then now half the time it doesn't matter. We'll see what they look like. Can't wait to see Kendrick Nunn, Dennis Schroeder, Russell Westbrook, Lonnie Walker lineup. Can't get enough of it. Milwaukee at Chicago. Does anybody give Chicago a chance? Anybody?
I got Giannis
against Milwaukee.
Yeah,
I got Giannis going with 30 points. I got Giannis.
No one.
Depends how engaged Giannis is. If Giannis just tricks off, then yeah, the Bulls can shock him. But if Giannis decides that he wants to win, the Bulls literally do not have a human being on that roster that can stop him. So it just depends on how Giannis feels, if he wants to win tonight or not.
All right. New Orleans will host Minnesota at 8. I've got New Orleans winning this one. Golden State, Utah. Utah's Golden State's kryptonite. Like, this is a tough matchup because Utah can do something Golden State can't do, and that's defend the rim and make Golden State a jump shooting team. And then they eat up the rebounds between
you hear that, Taylor Jenkins? Golden State can't defend the rim. Look into
Yeah, so like Utah keeps you off balance with 45 3-pointers per game, but then you get the likes of Jordan Clarkson, Malik Beasley running like a freight train. It's going to be an interesting game. Probably be the one that I don't watch because I want to see the second back-to-back Sacramento and Denver and Sac because if they lose tonight, I think it's pretty emblematic of what we can expect with the absence of Domantas Sabonis, who, to be honest, man, it's such a tough position to be in because I know he wants to compete. Sacramento's got something building really nice there, but long-term value has to come into play here, and I would really be worried if that avulsion became a complete tear, and then he would miss more time. So I would be on the side of sitting him out if I were ever to be a part of the Sacramento Kings front office, which I have never been part of the front office before or after Spaces. What's up, Jay?
Considering, because I was thinking about what you were saying, right, with the Heat versus the Lakers. And it seems to me that Miami just doesn't have enough bodies, right? Big bodies. And I was wondering, but the Wizards need a point guard. So would it help if, like, Rui Hachimura went to the Heat and the Wizards got, like, a Gabe Vincent or somebody who could play point for them?
Not really. Like, Miami struggled without Gabe because they had nobody to play to spell Lowry since Hero starts. And Rui, I don't think he would shoot well enough. I think if there actually is a trade there, but it wouldn't be for Nnamdi Gabe Vincent. It would probably be Victor Oladipo.
I like that. Because the Wizards are I feel like the Wizards are a point guard away. And Daylon Wright and Monte Morris are not the option they're not the answer as starter. They need a guy who can play 30 minutes a night. Because even TJ McConnell, I love his game. I don't think TJ McConnell even could handle 30 minutes a night. You know what I'm saying? And be with
I mean they gambled and they lost. Like that's what happens, you know. They gambled thinking that Monte Morris out of Denver would be able to turn into that 29 to 31 minute per game starter. It hasn't worked. They tried DeLon Wright, hasn't worked. They picked up undrafted cat. Can't remember the name right now. Hasn't worked. But no, Mr. Davis. He's still at the Capital City Go-Go's.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to mention Johnny Davis. It feels like picking on him at this point. Yeesh.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hit this button.
Put the music back on.
13 minutes of overtime. I feel like Luka. Like I just dropped 60 and 21 and 10. That's got to be one of the greatest feelings that you could ever have, right? Like, what does he do for an encore? That's the question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Discussing all things NBA. We'll cover the top 25 men's and women's college. The WNBA is getting ready to get back into the swing of things, so we'll pick up some of that as well. Yeah, like pick up some merch, y'all. It helps, or don't. If not, go over to slamgoods.com, our sponsor. Check them out. Pick up a Funko bobblehead, $20. Use promo code HoopSpace to save 15%. Shout out to Playback TV. We'll be back on Playback after the holiday as well, getting ready for the second half of the NBA season. See you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Peace out.